Lehendakaria, sailburua, European Forest Instituteko presidentea, Europako erregioetako ordezkariak, eta hemen elkartu zeraten guztioi, egunon, buenos días, welcome, ongi etorri. Ingurumena, jasangarritasuna, naturaren zaintza, eta honelako kontzeptuak egunero ari gara entzuten, han eta hemen, eta horiek guztiak noski alde batera utzi gabe, beste bat gehitu diegu, ekonomia bera. La nueva estrategia en el ámbito de la bioeconomía forma parte de las diferentes políticas que se están llevando a cabo en algunos países de la Unión Europea. El objetivo es claro, mejorar y aumentar el uso sostenible de los recursos renovables para hacer frente a los retos mundiales y locales, entre los que se encuentran el cambio climático y, como no, el desarrollo sostenible. En Euskadi estamos convencidos de que esta estrategia será imprescindible para mantener la competitividad y contribuir al crecimiento de la economía sostenible y al bienestar social. Bioekonomiaren Euskal Aliantza aurkeztu zen abenduan eta oraingoan European Forest Institutek eta Eusko Jaurlaritzak bioeskualdeen elkartea abiarazteko ezagutzak partekatzen eskualdeen ekintzarako jardunaldia aurkeztuko dizuegu. The conference will present the facility that will create and develop a bioeconomy-based project in the forest of European regions, Euskadi, the Karelia region of northern Finland, and the German region of Westphalia. On the other hand, we will also have the opportunity to share knowledge about innovation, infrastructures and investments, as well as to search and develop ways of cooperation for a sustainable bioeconomy. Pixkanak egingo dugu hau guztia, lehen hitzak gaur Arantxa Tapia, Eusko Jaurlaritzako ekonomiaren garapen eta azpiegitura sailburuak egingo ditu. Sailburu, nahi duzunean.
Egunon guztioi, good morning and thank you very much for being here with us. Badakigu egun hauek komplikatu xamarrak direla eta beraz esker bereziak Europan zehar hainbat erregioetatik etorri zareten guztioi. Gracias a todos por estar presentes hoy con nosotros. Lo importante va a ser lo que compartamos a partir de ahora, esta nueva facility, esta nueva forma de hacer, que vamos a tratar de colaborar y de compartir las mejores prácticas entre bioregiones europeas que ya están trabajando, no es algo nuevo, en lo que vamos a denominar una nueva economía que nos va a permitir generar riqueza y empleo. Creo que va a ser un paradigma diferente que nos va a guiar hacia un futuro mucho mejor para nuestra sociedad. Una economía como la vasca basada en un ámbito industrial que diversifica y que busca oportunidades también desde el punto de vista de la bioeconomía, bueno, es algo relevante y que queremos compartir con todos ustedes. No me voy a extender mucho más, a lo largo de la mañana iremos viendo experiencias, iremos compartiendo actuaciones que se han llevado a cabo y sobre todo vamos a tratar de mirar al futuro. Hori da gure helburua, hemendik eta aurrera zer egingo dugun, nola egingo dugun eta norekin egingo dugun. So for us it is very important to work together with you because sharing experiences from other regions, other countries that have been already developing structures, developing projects and so on will be the way to analyze the future and to establish new objectives and to establish new economy. The economy and employment is the key issue for a small country as the Basque Country, and today we will have the opportunity to see new experiences and the way to do things in the future. So be very welcome and thank you for being here with us.
Eskerrik asko, sailburu. Organitzem la jornada d'avui gràcies a l'impuls de l'EFI, per la qual cosa agraïm també la presència del seu president, el senyor Palai. Senyor Palai, cuando usted quiera.
Muchas gracias, Lehendakari. Su presencia nos honora. Consejera, gracias por sus palabras. Dear ladies and gentlemen, Good morning and welcome to the launching event of our new important initiative, the Bioregions Facility. And let me start by thanking the President of the Basque government, Mr. Íñigo Urkullu, who is present here with all of us today. First for the hospitality, but also for the leadership and the crucial support of the Basque government that has made it possible today to launch a new and very important initiative, the European Forest Institute Bioregions Initiative, a facility that aims at providing science-informed support to those regions willing to advance the bioeconomy, to bring the bioeconomy to action based on a European collaboration approach. And I am also very happy that two other regions that have been mentioned, Northern Rhine-Westphalia and from Germany and North Karelia from Finland and are joining the facility as well. Regions are the first meaningful scale at which we can integrate all relevant actors that can play a fundamental role in a sustainable and successful bioeconomy. Rural and urban, primary producers and industrial sectors, innovation centers and political institutions. So regions are the key building blocks for a successful bioeconomy at European level. And both regions and the bioeconomy are crucial also to meet the new European ambitions of the Green Deal. I think the Green Deal is going to be the political initiative that will very much shape our continent in the next years and decades. Because as you know, the Green Deal aims at a socially fair transition towards a carbon neutral economy by 2050. An economy that at the same time needs to be inclusive and needs to result in the enhancement of our natural capital. And before moving to the seminar, I would like to share with all of you a few reflections on why the bioeconomy is going to be so crucial, so fundamental to meet these new European ambitions towards a carbon neutral, renewable, and inclusive economy. But first, remember that after relying on a fossil-based economy for 200 years already, we have arrived at a tipping point. The world, our world, in many respects, have become too big for our planet. The two crises that we are facing today, the biodiversity crisis, the climate crisis, are two phases of the same crisis, the crisis of our fossil-based economy system. In these 200 years, we have changed the climate of our planet, and we are also crossing its resilience boundaries due to the loss of biodiversity and the degradation of our natural resources. So having arrived at such tipping point, we clearly need a new economic paradigm. We need a new economic model, a model where economic prosperity takes place within the renewable boundaries of our planet. We have only one planet, so we need to ensure that prosperity takes place within the renewable boundaries of the planet. This means an economy based on the sustainable use of our renewable resources, both for energy and for materials. Of course, this is easy to say, very difficult to do. It's very challenging, especially after 200 years of an economic inertia. And because what we are talking about is the greatest economic transition in human history. Just think that we need to decarbonize our global economy in 3 decades. So we need to move towards a carbon neutral, renewable economy by 2050. All that in an inclusive and respecting the planetary boundaries of our economy. This is very challenging. But it's not only a challenge, and we should also emphasize that it is the greatest business opportunity of the 21st century to make that transition. And those that will take the lead will be the ones that will make better business. But to realize such economic transition, one of the most urgent aspects that we need to address is the past failure of our economy to value nature, to value natural capital, to value biodiversity. And I think, in my opinion, to do that, the best way is to place nature at the center of the economy, to place life at the center of the economy, to place natural capital at the center of the economy. Basically, creating an economy that is powered by nature. And this is why the bioeconomy, for me, is very fundamental in making this transformation possible. Bioeconomy is an economy based on the sustainable use of renewable biological resources. Bioeconomy is about life. remember that bio means life. So we are talking here about an economy that is based on life. This is why it's so fundamental. And just consider the relationship of bioeconomy and biodiversity. Biodiversity determines the capacity of our biological resources to adapt and evolve in a changing environment. Biodiversity is a precondition for a long-term sustainable and resilient bioeconomy. So biodiversity is a priority investment for a successful bioeconomy. But the other side of the coin is that the bioeconomy is a great opportunity to place biodiversity at the center of our economy, at the center of our investment agenda. And if we have a long-term perspective in developing a bioeconomy, that will also provide incentives for our farmers, forest owners, industries to reinvest part of the benefits of our successful bioeconomy back in biodiversity. So I see bioeconomy and biodiversity as two sides of the same coin, a coin of a new economy that is powered by nature. And I think those of us that we are advocating for a science-informed bioeconomy should be the first to advocate for biodiversity. This is very important. But the bioeconomy has also a very important social and human dimension. It provides unique socio-economic opportunities for inclusive prosperity. And these opportunities are paradoxically related to one of the theoretical weaknesses of the bioeconomy compared to the fossil economy. That theoretical weakness is related to the complex ownership, distribution, mobilization, and processing of biological resources compared to fossil resources. So if you compare the complexity of mobilizing, transporting, processing biomass compared to fossil resources like oil, gas, coal, it is certainly more costly and more difficult. That's clear. But this theoretical disadvantage is at the same time one of the greatest advantages, because it is an opportunity to redistribute wealth, jobs, infrastructure, prosperity in very large parts of our territory, especially in rural areas. Just consider the example of the European forest-based sector. Many people don't know the European forest sector in Europe provides 3.5 million jobs. This is many more than the high energy intensive industries of chemicals, cement, and steel. In fact, if you take the steel and cement industry and you calculate all the jobs, direct, indirect, induced jobs in Europe, they are less than 3 million jobs. In addition, the European forest sector includes 400,000 small and medium enterprises and provides income to 16 million forest owners. This is an incredible socio-ecological fabric that we have in our regions. It's an incredible socio-ecological infrastructure that should be the basis for realizing the Green Deal. So I think this is also very important to consider biodiversity, but also it's an opportunity for redistributing wealth in the territory. Just reflect about how fossil resources are owned and distributed compared to biological resources. It's a great opportunity. And in Europe, remember that 40% of the land is occupied by forest. In the Basque country is even more. So this is a great opportunity. Finally, it is also very crucial to remember that moving towards a carbon neutral economy, it is not only about moving towards fossil-free energy. It is necessary, but it's not the only thing we need to do. We also need to move towards fossil-free materials. We will need to replace in the coming decades massively carbon-intense materials like plastics, concrete, steel, and many other minerals. And to do that, the only significant alternative that we have is the bioeconomy. Is the sustainable use and transformation of biological resources into a totally new range of bio-based solutions to replace all these carbon-intense materials. And the good news is that with the advance of technology, and we were discussing this with the consejera and the Lendakari, with the advance of technologies now, this shift is possible more than ever. I give you a few examples. We can now transform wood into a new revolutionary material called nanocellulose. Nanocellulose is 5 times stronger than steel and 5 times lighter than steel. Last year, the Ministry of Environment of Japan unveiled the first ever car made of nanocellulose, a car that is 50% lighter than a conventional car. This is a huge reduction in weight. and will have a lot of implications in reducing the carbon footprint. By the way, the same car could be powered by hydrogen derived from wood residues. So you could have a car industry that could be carbon neutral in the future, not only in terms of material, but also in the powering side. But we can also transform wood into sustainable wood textiles, which, by the way, reduce 5 times the carbon footprint compared to polyester, which is a plastic, as you know. And the textile sector is one of the sectors where we will need to push for a big transformation. And also, as you know, in the Basque Country, because you have one of the leading companies, Egoin, we can also use a new generation of wood engineering products to replace concrete and steel. And this is of crucial importance because the construction sector has huge environmental impacts because it relies nowadays on concrete and steel. And using wood in construction is one of the most effective ways we have to reduce the carbon footprint in our cities. And in fact, using wood in construction is a carbon capture technology because we are also storing carbon in our buildings. For every cubic meter of wood products that we use, we are storing 1 ton of CO2. So you are not only avoiding emissions compared to concrete, you are also storing carbon in cities. It's a fantastic solution. So with this example, I just wanted to demonstrate to you the transformational potential that the bioeconomy has in the future. It's a huge transformational potential to move towards a carbon neutral, renewable economy that prospers in harmony with nature. But to unlock that potential, regions are crucial. And this is why we are here today. Regions are crucial. And today we are going to discuss the role of regions in the bioeconomy, but also how the bioeconomy can boost prosperity. Prosperity, because we need to ensure that we make this transformation ensuring that there is prosperity and an inclusive growth at regional and European level. So, and with this, I finish my intervention, and we can move on to the first part of the event. Thank you very much. So, the event, as you could see, is structured on first session. We will discuss and reflect about the European environment, the emerging European environment, basically around 4 axes, which I think they are interconnected and needed for a successful bioeconomy. It's innovation, and it's easy to remember because there are the 4 I's. It's innovation, institutions, policies, investments, and infrastructures. I think these 4 axes are needed for a successful bioeconomy in the future. And we will start with some European level reflections, and then in a second session, we will discuss more the regional implications, and we will have the 3 leading regions in Europe moving forward for the bioeconomy. And now to start, I have the pleasure to welcome Peter Wernheim, who is the head of the Bioeconomy and Food Systems Unit in the European Commission. Thank you, Peter, for coming, because I know that the Commission has canceled a lot of participation in events. And Peter is a very important person, not only because he's leading the bioeconomy at European level in the European Commission, but also because he has a very good perspective to connect the different dots. Peter was working as head of unit for many years also in the DG Climate Action Unit. He was leading that. And he was also with Commissioner Hogan for a couple of years, leading the forestry portfolio. So he's the right person to have a nice 360 degrees perspective into the bioeconomy. Peter, welcome.
Prime Minister, Madam Minister, Director Mark Palahi, thank you very much for the invitation. Good morning, dear ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your interest in this topic. I think that's extremely well chosen, and it's also good timing to discuss this topic apart from coronavirus. That indeed is making life for all of us difficult. Congratulations to having organized this event. I think this is really fantastic. Europe is about diversity. It's about the regions Europe, without the regions and without the buy-in of the regions like the Basque region, like the other regions which are here today, cannot implement our policies. So the regions are really essential for our policies. And the forest-based circular and sustainable bioeconomy, as outlined by Mark, has indeed a great and potential to make a great contribution to the transformational change that is needed. Mark has outlined the potential to replace many products. Let me use these two examples. Yeah? We want to move from here to there. This is a traditional plastic cup, and that has been utilized for the last decades. And this is a coffee cup that is based on agriculture and forestry waste material. And it has been commissioned by Lufthansa, and Lufthansa is using it to serve coffee. So that seems to be a small step, but it's actually a big step forward for our economy. And it does not stop here, but it's about replacing many mineral and fossil-based products, everything we see here in the room in the next decades through the bioeconomy. Now, let me guide you through a few slides to also highlight that complementary to the work at the European Forestry Institute, Europe has also given a lot of importance to the bioeconomy. The bioeconomy basically is a concept that has been emerging already 25 years ago in the United States, and Europe has also picked up on this 20 years ago. During the last decade, we have had in 2012 a communication on the bioeconomy, and then a review of our European bioeconomy strategy, which in the beginning, the bioeconomy strategy in Europe was more research and innovation focused, but increasingly also with the environmental challenges, the focus shifted towards a more coherent and cross-sectional policy approach. We have now the updated bioeconomy strategy from 2018, which has been adopted, and this bioeconomy strategy at EU level has already been an important reflection also of the emerging political context we had. It is taking into account the Paris Agreement, it's taking into account the Sustainable Development Goals, and it is trying to offer alternatives of how these environmental challenges can be taken on board. Some people are always asking, what is the bioeconomy actually? We have a broader definition, Mark. We are not only looking at the forest-based sectors, but of course the forest-based sectors are an important element in the bioeconomy. But we are also including all other sectors which are producing biomass, which are producing bio-based materials, hence all primary sectors, agriculture, forestry, aquaculture, including all the waste and the side streams. Hence, this is important that we are talking about basically all 4 Fs, food, feed, fiber, fuel, but this is also about biodiversity and doing it differently than in the past. It's not only looking at individual parts of the primary production, it is about a system-wide approach, enhancing also the environmental capacity. It is about sustainability and circularity, and delivering for the citizens, specifically in rural areas. As Mark has pointed out, many of the actors who are engaged in primary production are in rural areas. They are in difficulties very often because the real agriculture prices, the real prices for forestry often go down. What is needed, we need to develop and find new value chains and new supply chains which bring additional value added and additional income to the rural areas. And this is possible from our point of view through the bioeconomy. In the last decade, we have seen significant progress related to the bioeconomy in the European Union. We have, in the meantime, 11 countries, 9 member states, plus Norway, plus the UK, we must say in the meantime, who have developed dedicated national bioeconomy strategies. We have 6 member states with dedicated bioeconomy strategies under development. Mainly the countries in Central and Eastern Europe are currently working hard to implement their strategies. We have 7 member states with macro-regional initiatives, and here this initiative is really very much appreciated from EFI to give another push to development regional strategies, because the bioeconomy only works if it is translated at the regional level. The bioeconomy, if you use this wide definition, as I said, is very big also in total in the European Union. But this is not the main purpose of showing this slide. I think the important part is that there are many different segments of the bioeconomy, such as mentioned by Mark, the bio-based textiles, wood products and furnitures, paper, bio-based chemicals, pharmaceuticals, liquid biofuels or bioelectricity. It is to be decided at the regional level where are the strengths, where are the weaknesses, and which are the sectors in which more needs to be done. And this can be, of course, very different in the region here of the Basque country compared to North Rhine-Westphalia, compared to a region in northern Finland. The potential in the different sectors can be very different. It's important to find out where is the innovation potential, and where can it make sense to build up industry, value chains, supply chains, whether it's in the generation of biomass, biorefineries, building up biorefineries, developing industrial applications, or developing new consumer goods as these plastic cups. Now, let me also mention there obviously are many different good examples already of the functioning bioeconomy in Europe. Here you see only 4 examples, one from Denmark, valorizing side streams in dairy processing and producing lactic acid out of it. On the lower left-hand side, something similar to this new cup, novel packaging materials for the food industry, again from agricultural waste and forestry waste, which are compostable, so degradable. Very important that these products also can be decomposed later on, contrary to normal plastics. You also see a project from Austria, the ICT and bioeconomy, where they are developing a tracking system for wood from the forest to the processing industry. And on the lower right-hand side, you see an integrated biorefinery example from Sardinia in Italy, where they are producing from this plant, which you see here on this photo on the lower right-hand side, cardon. They extract oils which can be used to substitute a lot of today fossil-based oils, which can be used even to also produce completely new products, such as a herbicide that can be utilized in agriculture, but again, which does not have the same toxic features like, for instance, glyphosate. So there are different possibilities. Let me also mention from the European side, we are also, of course, giving a lot of attention to the financing needs in the innovative bioeconomy. This is one example, the European Circular Bioeconomy Fund, which has been set up between the European Union and the European Investment Bank. It's an equity fund, it's a risk-sharing fund, and it has just been set up this year with a focus on the circular bioeconomy and really something that can be scaled up for innovative companies. Let me, in the end, say something very briefly what Mark has mentioned as well. The European Green Deal, as you know, this was a first initiative from our new president, President von der Leyen, and it is not only an environmental strategy, it's really a growth strategy for the entire European economy. I have indicated here the 8 areas in which this communication, which was published in December, will be followed up with additional initiatives. And basically, if you look at all of these 8 elements, you will see that they are relevant for the bioeconomy in view of climate mitigation, as Mark Palahi has spelled out, substituting materials, developing new materials, and carbon sequestration through our agricultural soils, through forests, is extremely important. In the context of transport sector, it's extremely important to develop fuels that can replace fossil-based fuels, but of course also in the food system itself, where, for instance, the packaging materials are of great importance. I work in the Director General for Research and Innovation, and we see research and innovation as an enabler and a driver for this European Green Deal. We are of the view that we have not all the solutions available yet. We need to do more efforts, we need to invest more into research and innovation in order to support all of these ambitious targets. Therefore, we also have a funding instrument which we call Horizon Europe, which, for which we still are waiting for the budget to be approved by the member states for the next 7 years. Horizon Europe is earmarked to get 100 million, and we have in the center a pillar 2 in which we have thematic funding areas, including what we call one cluster, cluster 6, which is related to food, the bioeconomy, natural resources, agriculture, environment. So you see that the bioeconomy is really centrally enshrined also in our research policy. For this cluster itself, the Commission has earmarked 10 billion because we want to enable the foresters and the farmers to be part of the solution and help them to generate more value added in the rural areas. Hence, to conclude, from my point of view, the European Bioeconomy Strategy from 2018 really rests on 3 pillars, on the sustainability, circularity, and the cross-cutting work. The European Green Deal gives a new impetus to the bioeconomy, and therefore this initiative, which is the matter of debate here today, translating really the EU bioeconomy to the levels of the regions is a fantastic opportunity, and I indeed again congratulate you for having set this up. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Peter. Keep your questions because we will have a round of discussion after all the presenters have finished. And now I have the pleasure to welcome Ulrika Landegren, the chair of the Natural Resources Committee at the Committee of the Regions. Thanks also for coming again with all these difficulties. So, but please, Ulrika, the floor is yours. And if we could get some micros here for the table, it would be nice.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the invitation. I'm so glad that I could be here with you in this kickoff for the conference today. Allow me to start with a few words about the European Committee of the Regions, whose representative I am. The Committee of the European Union Political Assembly of Regional and Local Representatives is composed by today 327 members from 27 member states, mainly regional presidents, mayors, and other high-level political representatives of regions and cities. Its members are democratically elected. I'm myself is a member of Kungsbacka Municipal Council in Sweden. It's a city just below Gothenburg in the west coast, and I'm also a municipal commissioner. I'm also a member of the European Committee of the Regions, and I'm, as you said, newly elected chair of one of the committees in the thematic commissions. Through the Committee of the Regions, the EU local and regional authorities participate in the EU decision-making process and have a say in the development of EU laws that impacts regions, cities, and citizens. In short, we institutionally represent cities, municipalities, and regions at EU level. The committee's work is organized in 6 thematic commissions, and I myself the chair of one of these thematic commissions, the Commission of Natural Resources, which is covering a broad policy spectrum from common agriculture policy and rural development, forestry, fisheries, maritime, affairs for food, consumer and civil protection, tourism and health policy. That's a huge area we work with. Local and regional authorities plays a very important role in the forest sector. An estimated 40% of the total EU forest area, equivalent to about 22 million of hectares, is owned by local and regional authorities. And for example, in the Nordic country, both Finland and Sweden, the most of the land we have in the Nordic country is forest. So it's very important for us, and I know it's very important for all of Europe, but we are depending on the forest. Local and regional authorities do not only own forest, they also manage forest, administer forest policy implementation, enforce forest laws, and provide support to private forest management. Local and regional authorities play a significant role in promoting use of local timber resources and the transition to greener economy. And I can't say that, or yesterday it was the 8th of March, Women's Day. And we have very good examples in Sweden now that many of the owners of forest is today young female women in Sweden. And they are thinking new. And I think we can hope of these new companies who will do something new about the forest. Furthermore, the forest sector is extremely important for the rural areas. Forestry activities and jobs are crucial to rural and sparsely populated regions which are facing a decline. Forestry is one of the key sectors that can keep our rural areas vibrant and sustainable. In this respect, the bioeconomy represents major development potential in terms of growth and jobs. Bio-based industries are projected to generate 1 million new jobs by 2030. many of them in rural areas where they are urgently needed. The EU should profile itself as the leader in this sector by developing bioeconomy-related technologies with a view to promoting job creation and securing the supply of high-quality biosourced products. However, this potential can only be harnessed if those involved on the ground, in the regions and in the municipalities, cooperate closely and pursue shared objectives. Local and regional authorities can play a significant role in promoting businesses' use of local timber resources and the transition to a circular bioeconomy. A successful transition towards a low-carbon and more environment-friendly economy will require substantially investments in technology, pilot facilities, and large-scale production, as well as long-term regulatory framework that provides a stable basis for large investments. Regional conditions to expand the bioeconomy are very varied. Therefore, regional approaches should be incorporated at an early stage when planning policies and designing funding options, with the objectives to be successfully implemented in varied regional contexts to overcome geographical challenges linked to insularity or remoteness, and to be better integrated with national, regional, and local funding programs. European regions being one of the most appropriate territorial levels for the implementation of bioeconomy strategies. The variety of European regions requires solutions adapted to the situation of each one of them. But, of course, this don't mean that we do not have anything in common. We can learn from each other and exchange good practice. The interregional cooperation is essential to advanced forest-based circular bioeconomy. And to conclude, we are particularly happy that this event takes place today. The European Committee of the Regions plead for establishing a European Forum of bioregions, biocommunities, and biomunicipalities. And now it's happening. I would like to express our full support for the facility and our readiness to cooperate closely with you in order to get many of other European regions involved. And thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Ulrika. And we are looking forward to work with you in order to attract more regions to our Bioregions initiative. So we will keep certainly in touch to make this a successful initiative. And now we move with the last speaker of the first session, and I have the pleasure to invite Nick Leith, who is the CEO of Green Angels Investors. As you have heard today, one of the key issues in developing the bioeconomy is about making innovation happen. And we wanted also to have a perspective from the private sector, from a very experienced person that has been working at the interface of research, innovation for many years. Nick is based in London, in the UK. And we met each other 3 weeks ago in an event hosted by His Royal Highness, the Prince of Wales. And we immediately had chemistry, and I thought that, Nick, you need to come to our event, and thank you for coming, you know, that we agreed and you are here. So please, Nick.
Thank you very much, Mark. President, Minister, ladies and gentlemen, it's a privilege to be here to speak to you. I think the new Bioregions Facility is among the most important initiatives that is being taken in Europe at the moment. I'm going to say something profound to you. I'm going to say something practical to you. And I should say to the simultaneous translator, I'm not going to use the draft that I provided you with at all. So I'm awfully sorry. I throw that away. So I'm going to say something completely different, not least as a result of what you've said, Mark, and what you've said, Peter, already. I should perhaps start by explaining, and Giuseppe, incidentally, tell me when to shut up, and I will. I should perhaps start by explaining who I am and why I have any authority or credibility or right to talk to you about something that you almost certainly know enormously more about than I do. I run something called Green Angel Syndicate, which is an angel investment syndicate. Angels being people who invest in startup and early stage unlisted companies. In other words, what angel investors do is take the highest possible risk. They, frankly, expect to lose their money most of the time, but every now and then, when they are successful with an investment, they expect to make much, 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 much more than they would if they invested in a listed company. So it's a very interesting investment class. The investments, of course, are small because you're investing in startup or early stage companies. The angel investment syndicate that I run in the UK is the only angel investment syndicate that specializes in the fight against climate change and global warming. We specialize by virtue of having people in our group who are experts in the areas that we invest in. And so, for example, the areas we invest in tend to be resource use dominated. Energy, food, water, transport, waste and recycling, and increasingly the nature-based solutions. So as a result of that specialist knowledge within our midst, we are much, much better than other angel investment syndicates at taking the risk out of the investments because we know the markets that we invest in. And we also not only take the risk out before we invest by analyzing them carefully, we also take the risk out of the investment after we've invested by putting people onto their boards who really know and understand the market sectors that we're investing in. And that has a power that is essential to our purpose. Climate change won't wait for Green Angel Syndicate to sort out which are going to be the successful companies and which are going to be the unsuccessful companies. Climate change is happening anyway. We cannot afford what other angel investors can afford, which is failure. We have to succeed, otherwise we've wasted our time and our money. So that's who I am. I started it because I ran an applied research institute, which I set up in 2000, which traveled all over Europe, and indeed I've worked, as I mentioned, in Joensuu with the North Karelia University of Applied Sciences over a number of years on various different projects. I've been to Bilbao before, where I was helping actually quite recently with the EIT Food on food innovation. The projects that we worked in through that Applied Research Institute were many and various, relating to the resource use areas that I've just described. And that was why I set up the syndicate in the first place in 2013 as an experiment to commercialize the sort of innovations we were seeing coming through. So that's me. I could go on because the work of Green Angel Syndicate does do a number of interesting and useful and crucial things. But I want to get on to what the new Bioregions Facility is doing and why I'm so excited about it, and I think you should be, and what the practical significance of where this should go might take, so that actually the result of what we're doing today should, in my view, be action. It shouldn't be, this should not be an event where we're talking to one another about how wonderful we are and what terrific people we are and how we're all organizing to do something that we will be planning but we don't quite yet know what that could mean. I want to end up by saying to you that it means this, and it means it now. And here's why. The Intergovernmental Panel report on biodiversity, which was released about a year ago, had one absolutely devastating conclusion that really builds on some of the things that Mark was saying and some of the things that Peter was saying. In the years since the 92 Earth Summit and the 1997 Kyoto Protocol, it has been assumed, and indeed the modeling shows this, that the significance of biodiversity, the significance of nature-based solutions, ecosystems that support our planet, is real, but that in terms of solving the problems of global warming and the consequent change in the climate to produce rain, which I'm told is normal in Bilbao, so maybe this isn't climate change, that the nature-based solutions of ecosystem regeneration to put right the damage that we were doing to the planet was in the 1990s considered to be quite small. And the real issues that we needed to work on and failed to work on, but nevertheless people recognized that we should have been, were very much related to energy, to a lesser extent food, to some extent water. All of our transport systems needed looking at. In other words, they were all of the activities relating to what you might call the human-built environment, the urban environment, and that the need for nature-based solutions was 5%, 10%. In the Intergovernmental Report on Biodiversity of 1 year ago, the figure that is stated is 40%. In other words, if we treat the solutions required to arrest warming and reverse it and correct the changes that are happening to our climate as 100%, 40% of those must be nature-based solutions involving ecosystem regeneration. If they are not, it doesn't matter what we do to that. It doesn't matter what we do to these, to the clothes you're wearing, to the cars you're driving. We will fail if the nature-based solutions aren't as high as 40%. That is an absolutely shocking conclusion, which we are still neglecting. And I think in many ways, it's why I think the new Bioregions Facility initiative is so important. I think in many ways, both Mark and Peter were what we call pulling their punches. They weren't punching you hard enough to frighten you and shock you in the way they should have done, because it is frightening and shocking. If we don't get this right, we are doomed. We will already, we know, reach plus 1.5 degrees warming over the pre-industrial levels, and at plus 1.5, we're in trouble. It's bad. Areas of London, I mean, the British are completely self-centered, aren't we? I do apologize for that. But nevertheless, there will be areas of London that will be flooded. I doubt whether, well, Bilbao is a flood base, isn't it? It's had terrible floods before. There will be, the extreme weather events will be frequent, they'll be numerous. That's plus 1.5, and it's almost certain we're going to reach plus 1.5 by 2030 unless we do something absolutely dramatic now. Plus 2 degrees, which was thought to be remote, will be 2050. And that's if we don't really act fast now. And plus 2 degrees really is catastrophic. So now, here's the something profound. You've been gentle, Mark. You've been gentle, Peter. I'm not going to be gentle with you. I say to you, save nature, because only nature can save you. So that's the something profound. Was that all right?
Yes.
That's the something profound. It's easy, isn't it, to stand up as a prophet of doom. That's the difficult bit, and here's the bit that's really important about what I'm about to say, is what to do about it. The practical solution. I'm an optimist. Green Angel Syndicate is an organization that's based on an optimistic view of who we are and what we can do, and it's based on the belief that a solution is, solutions are possible. And that correction to myself contains the key to what I'm about to say. What we've got to create, what we've got to generate is innovation. I was delighted to hear Peter mention it. Mark, you mentioned it. It's implicit in the new Bioregions Facility. The practical point that I'm going to bring you towards is how and what and where those will be generated, how we can do it quickly, and of course, the solution will embody in it the observation that we'll only do it by working together. And that's why this is so exciting and why it's such a good initiative. Innovation. The first point to make about the need for innovation is that this isn't singular. And that's why I corrected myself. It's innovations. It's plural. The problem is systemic. The problem is in evidence in this room. Everything that we are, everything that we represent, everything that we've done this morning. How many of you have had a cup of coffee? How many of you know what the carbon footprint is of that cup of coffee? Hands up. Nobody. I don't either. I'm not going to tell you. But it has a carbon footprint. The cup of coffee you have drank this morning has cost the planet in terms of carbon emissions, and that's just a cup of coffee. Think of all the other things you've done. I'm sure with that huge Iberdrola tower looming over Bilbao, all the electricity must be renewable. Is it? Do you actually know? It is. So all the electricity is renewable. But the heat isn't, is it? No, well, it isn't. We haven't worked out how to do heat. Sorry, I'm going off at a tangent. The point I'm making is that the problems we face are systemic. They relate to everything we do. Look at your clothes. Your clothes have cost carbon emissions. Look at these things. I bet you these things have cost carbon emissions. We are carbon emitting day by day by day. It is systemic, and we've got to put the whole system right. So that means innovations. What it means is innovations at a granular level that are small, incremental changes. You know, we can't change the carbon footprint of a cup of coffee in one go with one innovation. It is multiple. There are all the different steps in the system from planting the coffee bean plants. I'm not a biologist. What do coffee beans grow on plants? So planting the coffee beans, irrigating the coffee beans, harvesting the coffee beans, and so on and so on, and it goes on and on and on and on and on. And that relates to everything. So my point is that the innovations have to be engaged with a multiple technological process where new technologies, new processes are being used to develop what we do in a way that is non-carbon emitting, that it helps us in the fight against climate change. And they are incremental changes. They're all small changes that are going to change at that basic level, and then when you put them together, more and more is improved, more and more is improved. We need a dynamic innovations culture to do that, and that's part and parcel of what I think the Bioregions Facility is about, a dynamic new innovations culture. Now, here's the bit that I think is the practical route to making this happen effectively. The question that I've begged so far is, what specifically are these innovations, and what specifically are the innovations for a new bioeconomy? Here is the answer. You all know. The way to get them is if we sit down and start by talking about what's needed. And this is a step change to what you're already doing. So what you're already doing is you're designing the program and you're putting headings, and you're putting against those headings activities. Well, now, what I'd like to do, and I suggest we do it, is we mine down into the granular reality of what those headings mean and say, well, what is that? What do we need to invent in this heading using the bioeconomy? And as soon as you start to do that, you start to get a list of headings of what's wanted. As soon as you've got a list of headings of what's wanted, then we stand a chance, and I do mean specifically Green Angel Syndicate, because we're very high profile in the United Kingdom, we can go online and say we want inventions that cover this target, this target, this target, this target, and we will get them. We're getting currently more than 2 new innovations a day. We're swamped with people who are inventing things, and at the moment, we're not okay. We're not specifying what they have to cover. And so if we sit down and work out what they really do have to cover, then we can get them, because the inventors will cluster around those. They know that climate change is where the possibility of making money exists. That's exactly Mark's point and Peter's point. This is a new economy which will be prosperous, doing the things that we need to do to keep the human race alive. And the people who really do that will make money. My final point is that you might think, well, actually, that's the job of Iberdrolas, the multinationals, the huge corporates. It's not. And here is why. Radical innovation can only come from grassroots invention. It cannot come from Iberdrola. Iberdrola's existence depends upon delivering a dividend to its shareholders, upon its share price rising, upon its market share rising, upon its sales growth rising. All of those things are predicated on it doing business as usual. Sure, it can use renewable energy. That doesn't affect what it's doing. If somebody invents the cure to renewable heat, it will develop that. That's fine. It cannot do anything else that compromises the business base of Iberdrola. That's why all the multinationals' huge R&D budgets are worthless in this fight. That's why what you're doing here is so potentially valuable, and why I'm suggesting we should all work together to give it a practical reality that really changes the world we're in. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nick, for your provocative speech, and we will do it, Nick. This is why you are here. We want to work with you and with many others that can make this innovation happen. And I think you made a good point also about the optimists, because we cannot innovate if we are not optimists. And Winston Churchill had a very nice quote about being optimist. He was an optimist himself, and he used to say that optimists see opportunities in every difficulty. Pessimists see difficulties in every opportunity. So as you can imagine, if we are not optimists, we are not going to make this happen. We have still a few minutes for some questions, so I would like to ask the speakers to come here. And now is your turn, please. Any questions that you have for our speakers, or any comments also? And something that I didn't mention before is that we are starting the Bioregions initiative with the leadership of the Basque Country and together with Northern Rhine-Westphalia and North Karelia. But of course, we are hoping that many more regions will join, and probably some of you are representing or coming from other regions. And so it will be welcome also to get more involvement. So, yeah. Yes, Giuseppe was right telling me, because one of the speakers that was supposed to come here was the CEO of the BBI joint undertaking. This is the largest public-private partnership in the world operating on the bioeconomy. They are promoting innovation, infrastructures, demonstrations on how to make the bioeconomy, how to translate the bioeconomy from the laboratory to an economic reality. And we are going to sign an MOU with the BBI, because we will partner in the context of the Bioregions Facility to make this innovation happen at a faster rate. But please now, any questions from your side or comments? Who would like to start? Don't be shy. I have one question to break the ice, because you always need to prepare one question, because this happens very often. I have a question, Peter, for you, and it's about one of the policies that doesn't cost any money, and in my opinion is more successful, and we have good examples, is public procurement policy. Because de facto we need to create now a new market for all these bio-based products. And I think public procurement is one of the best ways to do that in a simple way and doesn't cost money from the public bodies. And we have a very good example from the US that probably you have heard. It's called the BioPrefer program. It was a huge public procurement policy that the federal government decided to identify around 100 products that in the future had to be bio-based. Yeah? All federal agencies had to buy from these 100 products, they had to be bio-based. And there was a certification system behind. And de facto, like this, they created a new market for bio-based products. It was very successful. What do you think about this at the European level? Why we don't move forward with that idea?
Mark, thank you. I have to admit, I'm not Ursula von der Leyen, so you have to ask my president that question, how to exactly translate some of the things we have discussed here today, with which kind of policy initiatives. But in principle, you are right. Public procurement is a possibility. Public procurement is a lead market, can give good examples, and can help to create also a level playing field, because very often between these two products we don't have a level playing field. This one simply has well-established supply chains. It's cheap in getting the raw materials to produce it, and this one is far more expensive. Therefore, if public procurement would give an advantage to materials from the bioeconomy, be it renewable cups, be it plastic, or be it renewable spoons, forks, all these things are small. But even the buildings, I think the public sector can really lead by example, trying to replace and build more frequently with materials from the bioeconomy. There are large buildings which in the meantime are built with engineered wood, as you have said, and replacing steel, replacing concrete with products from the bioeconomy indeed can be really a big opportunity. So I do believe there might be initiatives from this in the European Union context, but which ones I can't say here today yet.
Thank you, Peter. And I think it's something that regions can also develop, regions and cities as well. Ulrika, maybe you can comment on this?
Yes, please. I think the municipalities and regions have a big responsibility to do the right things, because we are the big buyers. For example, for your mugs, my community doesn't, nowadays, we used to use this one. We left this one because that's no good. Uses this one sometimes, but we uses this one more because it's sustainable. So it makes a difference what type of decision we make. And we buy a lot of foods, and we produce lots of things in the municipalities and in the regions. But for example, we are building nurseries, schools, official buildings, and we can build them in wood, much more. We have a good example from Sweden, for example, in Växjö, who is a middle town, 250,000 inhabitants, but they nowadays build buildings 7 flats high or 11 flats high. It's possible. It costs a little bit more, but it's sustainable. So we have the possibility to take the opportunity to make the right decisions. And we are spending so much money from the municipalities and regions, so let's spend it on right things.
Yes, thank you, Ulrika. Very good comment. Any questions? Yes, please, micro there. Introduce yourself, Jana.
Thank you. Janna Pumalainen, City of Joensuu, the hometown of the European Forest Institute. Happy to be here. We are one of the frontrunners in public procurement, so that in over 90% of our public procurement in the past 3 years, we have used environmental criteria. And we have also in the city strategy that we will use all our investments in, let's say, in an innovation platform, environmental platform. So I think the points you have brought up are really good, that the public procurement policies, public investment, you can really do a lot of things. What we are currently facing, and what is my question, is that we see that our people are really a lot moving towards the city center. And we see the rural areas becoming more and more empty. And is there something we could do on this? And how can we guarantee that we will have workforce also for the forest bioeconomy related jobs in the countryside? So that is my question. Thank you.
Very good question, very difficult, I think, very fundamental, because this is a mega trend happening in all Europe and many other parts of the world. And you are right, how to make the bioeconomy possible if there is less and less people. But I think this is part of the bioeconomy, to make more attractive rural areas. But maybe you have any comments or answers? Nick, please.
Is this working?
Yes.
Yeah. Because I'm private sector, I've got a very simple answer to that, and it's called money. If businesses are developed that are based in the rural economy, as a result of this project, they will be funded, they will be able to pay people's salaries, and people will go to where the salaries are. And of course, that also applies to the city. I mean, I think in a way, curiously, the bioeconomy will be location agnostic. It won't be nature agnostic, it will be location agnostic. And there may be businesses that are using products of the bioeconomy where the actual production plant is city-based for all sorts of different reasons. And then employment will be created in the city by those businesses. I don't see, when I say save nature because only nature will save you, I'm not saying go and live in nature. I'm saying attend to its place and its role in our survival, which is a completely different point.
Thank you, Nick. Peter?
Yes, to that question, I think that's a very pertinent question in all parts of Europe, quite obviously. We have that trend towards urbanization, rural areas. We want to make sure that they have the same standard of living like the urban areas. But primary agriculture and also forestry, they compete also with the industries, with the sectors which are mainly based in urban areas, where innovation is the driver. The real prices in agriculture and forestry tend to decline. However, if we include a stronger innovation component in the rural economies, I believe that can generate new value added. In the member state I know best, in Germany, many farmers try to diversify over the last decades. In the 90s of the last century, renewable energy was one such possibility to develop new markets and to develop new revenue streams. I believe the bioeconomy can be something like the renewable energy was 2-3 decades ago, but we need to also develop new governance models, we need to develop new business models such that the farmers, the foresters, also the primary producers in rural areas can generate the value added, that it is not only generated by the companies which are situated in urban areas.
Thank you. We need to close in 45 seconds. So just...
I will be short. To support the rural areas is a key message for us, and they have the natural resources at home, but EU also must support small SMEs and innovative companies in these rural areas. It often goes to bigger, that you told, bigger companies in the cities. So if we can have more funds for small SMEs who is innovative in this area, they have the natural resources, and then we can use and develop.
Thank you. 5 seconds, Peter. You continue in the coffee break, so you have time to discuss.
As a complement, the European Union Common Agricultural Policy is also picking up bioeconomy. We have here a specific objective, but the funds which are available through the Common Agricultural Policy need to be requested from the regions to be spent and utilized for the support of small bioeconomy companies. Without that, the funds will go into other areas.
Thank you. It has been a pleasure. I would like to, give another applause to all the speakers. Yes. And we continue the discussion in the coffee break, but now I give the floor again to the general moderator.
Bueno, eskerrik asko, jardunaldiaren lehen zati honetan parte hartu duzuen pertsona guztiei benetan interesgarria izan da. Gaur goizeko jarduna berehala izango dugu kafetxorako tartea, deskansurako tartea, baina hori baino lehenik Iñigo Urkullu lehendakariari hitza eman nahiko nioke. Benetan garrantzitsua da sare honen sorreran, aurkezpen honetan lehendakariaren babesa izatea, eta lehendakari nahi duzunean.
Sailburua, herri agintari eta ordezkariok, European Forest Institutoren arduradunok, jaun Andreok, egunon, ongi etorri. Be welcome to Euskadi, Basque Country. Thank you very much. For me, in this moment, in this meeting, it's easier to speak in Basque language and Spanish language by the media. Eskerrik asko parte hartzaile guztiei zuen ekarpenagatik. Argi dago bioekonomian egindako inbertsioa etorkizuneko inbertsio bat dela. Euskadin bioekonomiaren aldeko apustua irmoa da. Baliabide berriztagarrien erabilera hobetzeko eta handitzeko lana egiten ari gara, mundu zabaleko eta bertako erronkei aurre egin ahal izateko. La Alianza Vasca por la Bioeconomía nos ha reunido hoy alrededor de un mismo objetivo: diversificar la economía vasca y contribuir al desarrollo sostenible. En Euskadi disponemos de los recursos naturales y las capacidades tecnológicas necesarias para explorar nuevas oportunidades de un modelo de producción respetuoso con Amalurra. Un modelo económico basado en el uso de recursos de naturaleza biológica. Nuestra apuesta por la bioeconomía es firme. Trabajamos para mejorar y aumentar el uso de los recursos renovables para hacer frente a los retos mundiales y también locales. Euskadi es una comunidad pionera en el compromiso con el desarrollo sostenible, el respeto al medio ambiente y la estrategia contra el cambio climático. Trabajamos desde la convicción de que la transformación ecológica y energética supone también una oportunidad para nuestro futuro. El Gobierno vasco lidera este proceso desde el concepto auzolana, la colaboración público-privada, el trabajo en red y la participación de todas las instituciones públicas. Esta colaboración se demuestra invirtiendo. Vamos a seguir trabajando para promover la inversión en talento, investigación e innovación. Vamos a seguir compartiendo nuestras experiencias para intensificar el modelo de bioeconomía y su aplicación progresiva a todos los sectores económicos. Transformar la realidad actual nos llevará a una Euskadi más competitiva y sostenible, mucho más abierta al mundo. La jornada de hoy nos permite incorporar visiones del exterior y al mismo tiempo situar nuestros propios desarrollos en otros lugares de Europa y el mundo. Así, Euskadi, junto a Carelia del Norte en Finlandia y Renania del Norte-Westfalia en Alemania, ponemos en marcha la Red Europea de Fomento de la Bioeconomía Circular Forestal. Compartimos el objetivo de promocionar el desarrollo sostenible y la descarbonización de la economía. Jardunaldi hau, bioekonomiaren bidean aurrera egiten jarraitzeko aukera eskaintzen digu. Talentuan, ikerketan eta berrikuntzan inbertsioa sustatu behar dugu. Beti ere, auzolanaren bidetik gure esperientziak partekatzen eta kanpoan ematen diren aurrerapenak hobeto ezagutzen. Hori da jardunaldi honen helburua. Ezagutza zabaldu bioekonomiaren eredua sektore ekonomiko guztietara garatzeko. Horrekin batera, Finlandiako Karelia eta Alemaniako Westfalia eskualdekin batera, sare berria jarri dugu abian Europa mailan bioekonomia zabaltzeko xedearekin. Termino agradeciendo el esfuerzo de todas las personas que han organizado y participado en esta jornada. Conectar conocimiento para la acción local. El conocimiento, el debate profesional y social, el intercambio de experiencias nos va a permitir seguir avanzando en la construcción de un futuro más sostenible y competitivo. Seguir avanzando en el modelo de desarrollo humano sostenible. Eskerrik asko, egun ona izan. Thank you very much.
Bueno, honen bestez, kafererako atsedenaldia egingo dugu. Llegados a este punto, hacemos un pequeño descanso para ese café y después podremos conocer ya de cerca las experiencias e iniciativas tanto de Euskadi como de Karelia y Westfalia. Eskerrik asko, gero arte.
Good day and welcome back from the coffee break. It is my pleasure to now host the regional session. My name is Diana Tomasjukka. I'm a principal scientist from EFI working on sustainable bioeconomy. And this initiative on bioregions is very close to my heart. So I'm very happy to start with Mr. Ignacio Martinez to start to introducing this Bioregions Facility, this new initiative, to come and present it, that you get a better understanding of what we have in mind, what do we want to plan. And this session will be then followed by the 3 starting regions to explain a bit more. What are they doing right now? What do they have in mind? What infrastructures are in place to start and open up the discourse on how can we work together on innovation, institutions, infrastructure, and I forgot one. Investment, that's it. Thank you. All right. Ignacio, please come. Ignacio Martinez is also the head of our Mediterranean office in Barcelona with a long and huge experience in regional matters. It's your floor.
Thank you. Thank you, Diana. Regional Minister, regional representatives, it's a great day today. Very happy to be here with you. I will make my presentation in Spanish for the audience, so I invite you to put your headphones on. Buenos días, es realmente un enorme placer estar aquí con todos vosotros presentándoos en estos siguientes 10 minutos esta iniciativa de Bioregions en las que hemos estado trabajando quizás los últimos 4 años muy de la mano con el gobierno vasco y con las otras regiones pioneras. Lo que os decía, en los próximos minutos quiero presentar un poco cuál es el concepto, la idea y el contenido de este Bioregions. Marc nos decía en la mañana que estamos frente a una transformación radical, ¿no? Una transformación desde una economía basada en el petróleo, que además es lineal, manufactura, uso y desecho, hacia una economía circular donde las energías renovables producen la mayor parte de la energía y donde los recursos biológicos reciclables, reutilizables, con nuevos modelos de negocio basados en la economía compartida y colaborativa, son el centro del modelo económico. Esa imagen viene de la estrategia francesa de bioeconomía de 2017. Ellos le dicen, hay que poner la fotosíntesis en el centro del modelo económico. Tenemos que saber extraer todo el potencial de los recursos naturales. Y como os he dicho a la mañana, es un reto enorme, porque no se trata de desarrollar un nuevo sector. Esto no es el sector 4.0, agrícola 4.0 o forestal 4.0. Esto tiene que ver con la transformación de los sectores económicos de cada región de Europa. ¿Y cuáles son los sectores que generan mayor impacto? Tenemos la construcción, la manera en que construimos ciudades y que vivimos en ellas, decían antes, de built environment. Solo la construcción es responsable del 30% de todo el uso material y una parte similar de los residuos. Y además es el 10% del PIB mundial. Si somos capaces de transformar y hacer más biológica, más sostenible la construcción, habremos hecho un paso de gigante. Y ahí la madera, con las nuevas capacidades de madera sólida, ofrece muchísimas oportunidades, y no solo la madera, otros biomateriales en temas de aislamiento, etcétera. Pero no solo es construir edificios en madera, es la infraestructura verde urbana. Sabemos que, a pesar del coronavirus, la Organización Mundial de la Salud nos avisa que el siglo XXI es el siglo de las enfermedades mentales, derivadas del estrés, del agotamiento, y sabemos que eso tiene mucho que ver con el déficit de naturaleza. Y hay cada vez más evidencia científica que ciudades con más áreas verdes, con bosques verticales, con infraestructura verde urbana, son ciudades más vivibles y habitables, ¿no? Donde el transporte es también transporte colectivo y compartido. Y entonces es la construcción en madera, pero es meter el bosque en la ciudad, de alguna manera, lo que tenemos que conseguir. Tenemos que, por supuesto, que transformar las manufacturas, ¿no? El 25% del PIB industrial vasco, también el 22% de todo el uso material del planeta, que están dominados por los plásticos en general. Y ahí tenéis ese coche que hablaba Marc de nanocelulosas de Toyota, cuando el gobierno japonés dijo, os reto a la industria a darme un coche avanzado, ¿no? Y tiene, por supuesto, materiales muy avanzados, incluso en sectores tan exigentes como la automoción, con tantas exigencias de especificidades de materiales, de requerimiento de seguridad, de certificado de materiales. Ahí también estamos viendo una tendencia creciente hacia biologizar la producción. Lo de arriba es una bicicleta hecha en Euskadi, creo, que no es nanocelulosa, es madera microlaminada y parcialmente financiada con crowdfunding, que ya tiene competidores en el mercado porque no son los únicos que lo hacen, ¿no? Pero la esencia de esta diapositiva es el coche de cáñamo que tenéis ahí, the hemp car, que produjo la Ford en 1941 con las restricciones al acero durante la Guerra Mundial. Hicieron un coche de resinas fenólicas, composite con cáñamo, alimentada por biofueles, porque el sueño de Ford para una América que entonces era muy rural todavía era juntar la industria con la agricultura y generar nuevos materiales más avanzados. Si hubiéramos seguido aquel camino del GEMCAD, ¿dónde estaríamos hoy? ¿Dónde estaríamos hoy? Lo abandonamos porque llegó el acero barato y llegó el petróleo barato. Pero las ideas no son nuevas, lo que tenemos que hacer es volver a impulsarlas y esta vez no dejarnos atrapar en todas esas dificultades que tiene el camino. Pero se trata, por supuesto, del supermercado libre de plásticos y la agricultura libre de plásticos. Esa foto que tenéis ahí es de change.org, una demanda popular con 100.000 firmas pidiendo supermercados sin plástico. Es evidentemente una demanda que estamos viendo fuertísima en los últimos años y en los que los productos biológicos, los bioplásticos degradables, los packaging basados en celulosa, etcétera, tienen un potencial enorme que estamos viendo. Ahí tenéis Smurfit ha sustituido el anillo de las latas de cerveza de plástico por papel. Abajo tenéis un mar de plástico de la producción agrícola. No solo es cómo comercializamos, es cómo producimos. Antes hablamos cómo reemplazamos los pesticidas, cómo reemplazamos los plásticos agrícolas, cómo reemplazamos, como Nick decía, todos esos elementos de la cadena. Hay inmensas oportunidades, el mercado lo está pidiendo. Son productos que suelen ser más caros, necesitamos trabajar en ello, hacerlos viables y sobre todo hacerlos centrales en nuestro sistema económico. Se trata, por supuesto, del textil. El textil hoy día es responsable del 2-3% de las emisiones globales de CO2. Para el 2050 se estima que va a ser el 26% de todas las emisiones. Y es la principal fuente de bioplásticos en el mar y microplásticos. Casi el 70% de los textiles que usamos son todos basados en petróleo, ¿no? El algodón no puede crecer más porque tiene exigencias de agua, pesticidas, agricultura no sostenible. Y van a ser los nuevos materiales de celulosa. Pero no bastará que sea celulosa, no bastará que sean viscosas de última generación, tendrán que ser hechas de manera limpia, sostenible, con trabajo digno, sin utilizar químicos tóxicos y no reciclables. Tenemos que hacer ecodiseño, no es solo lo bio, es lo bio, lo reciclable, lo eco, y tenemos una enorme transformación en el sector del textil y los que entren primero realmente tendrán una posición de lujo. Y no solo en la producción de viscosa, como os digo, sino todo en el proceso de la moda sostenible. Al final se trata no solo de cómo construimos las ciudades, sino de cómo vivimos en ellas. Y sin más, ese es un poco, quería dar una perspectiva de cuáles son los retos y las oportunidades, pero el mensaje principal es que no estamos hablando de crear un sector de base biológica, estamos hablando de biologizar poco a poco los sectores de la economía. ¿Por qué los bosques? Se decía antes, una infraestructura verde europea. La celulosa y la lignina es la principal materia natural de nuestro planeta y tenemos un sector forestal de base con capacidad de gestión de esa enorme infraestructura verde y además hemos aprendido a hacerlo de manera compatible con la conservación de la biodiversidad y la provisión de servicios ecosistémicos que es fundamental. ¿Y por qué las regiones? Al final, la biomasa es fundamentalmente diferente de los recursos fósiles, como decía también Marc antes, porque viene del territorio. No llega del puerto, no sale una tubería y el territorio está lleno de personas, lleno de gente, con expectativas, con cultura, con identidad. Y mover ese territorio conjuntamente, acordar, cohesionar la sociedad, ponerse de acuerdo en cuál es la mejor manera de gestionarlo y para qué, es imprescindible y esa base territorial solo la pueden dar regiones como Euskadi, por ejemplo, como Karelia. Además, las regiones tienen sectores económicos específicos que transformar y también decíamos antes, es muy diferente una región basada en la automoción, en las industrias metálicas que una formación que necesita transformar una industria química tan potente como Nord-Westfalia. Cada región tendrá que buscar sus maneras, encajar con sus sectores existentes, con sus recursos biológicos y hacerlo de una manera integral y cohesionada en el territorio. Por supuesto, las regiones tienen muchas políticas, se mencionaba antes, desarrollo rural, tenemos la RIS3, espacio inteligente, tenemos modelos de innovación, tienen todos los instrumentos políticos para lanzar esa transformación y ser los actores principales. Y también porque hace falta una cierta escala en la bioeconomía. Relaciones individuales de productora a consumidor no van a poder escalar de la manera que necesita este reto social y necesitamos, como os decía, aproximaciones con una economía de escala significativa en muchos casos. Y bueno, en ese sentido, trabajando, como os decía, esa foto que tenéis ahí es un evento que hicimos en Donostia en 2016, si no me equivoco, con Escuajo, y ahí empezamos a poner las bases de cuáles son este marco que necesitamos para mover la bioeconomía. ¿Cómo conseguimos esa transición? ¿Cómo generamos el ecosistema? ¿Cómo generamos el ambiente para que esto sea posible? ¿No? Y eso es resumido en 5 dimensiones, ¿no? De lo que tenemos que hacer. Tenemos que ser capaces de gestionar recursos sosteniblemente, adaptados al cambio climático y movilizar recursos en cantidad, en precio, eficientemente. Y lo tenemos que hacer conservando además la provisión de bioecosistémicos y conservándola, ¿no? Y llevando a la sociedad junto a nosotros. Y no solo eso, sino tenemos que ser sostenibles. Antes Ulrika nos decía, ¿plástico, papel o cristal? Tenemos que garantizar que lo que hacemos es sostenible, tenemos que tener un marco fuerte de sostenibilidad. No porque sea bio es siempre la mejor solución, tiene que ser bio, reciclable, renovable, sostenible. Tenemos que ser muy serios y necesitamos realmente entender y analizar nuestros pasos para ir siempre en mejora continua. Necesitamos, por supuesto, un mercado, decíamos también antes. Necesitamos que productos que hoy día tienen barreras por el precio se conviertan en instrumento principal. Eso tiene que ver con la compra pública, pero tiene también, como os decía, con garantizar al consumidor que lo que compra es sostenible, es biológico. Eso significa una seriedad en la producción y tomarse la sostenibilidad al medio y poder certificarla, evaluarla de manera transparente. Por supuesto, necesitamos capacidad de tomar riesgos políticos y riesgos económicos. Y ahí estaba Mick para contarnos cómo ellos trabajan para reducir el riesgo en sus inversiones. Pero necesitamos esa capacidad, necesitamos mucho ensayo-error, no sabemos qué tecnologías van a ganar, es difícil imaginar cómo serán los productos del mañana, lo que necesitamos es un ambiente de innovación y, por supuesto, capacidad de tomar riesgo. Y necesitamos, por supuesto, sistemas de innovación y gente preparada. ¿Cuáles son el capital humano que requiere la bioeconomía? ¿Cuándo lo empezamos a preparar? Veremos pronto nuevos sistemas de formación profesional, nuevos currículums universitarios, y ahí también podemos trabajar conjuntamente en las regiones. Y necesitamos, por supuesto, una sociedad que se siente representada, que se siente parte y que engancha y apoya todas esas iniciativas. Y hay mucha necesidad de comunicar, que hace falta mucho diálogo y participación en muchos casos en cómo avanzamos hacia la bioeconomía. Y estas son las dimensiones que la plataforma de regiones quiere trabajar de manera conjunta. ¿Y cómo? Nosotros lo que ofrecemos es un espacio a las regiones de trabajo conjunto y regiones que tienen la capacidad de avanzar en la bioeconomía y tienen el mandato político de hacer esa transición y que tienen la capacidad de empujarlo y regiones que están comprometidas con una bioeconomía sostenible, circular, inclusiva y donde los recursos forestales son una parte muy importante. Y ese es el espacio que hemos desarrollado conjuntamente y que queremos animar. Y lo conceptualizamos como con 3 componentes principales. Una plataforma de compartir lecciones entre regiones. Por ejemplo, hablamos de compra pública. ¿Cómo se hace? ¿Cómo lo haces tú? ¿Qué funciona? ¿Qué no? ¿Qué estándares necesitamos? ¿Cómo movemos a la Comisión Europea en la dirección correcta? ¿Qué lecciones hay en tus sistemas de innovación, en sistemas de enseñanza? Haremos informes de síntesis, visitas compartidas, pero hay una plataforma muy abierta para compartir en esas dimensiones que os comentaba y avanzar conjuntamente entre regiones. Haremos análisis de foresight, cuáles son los productos más prometedores, conjuntamente, etc. Tendremos también una plataforma de innovación, decimos Business Discovery Innovation. Queremos juntar a los inventores con los fondos de financiación, con las empresas líderes en las regiones, para ir encontrando esas soluciones. Y queremos, sobre todo, generar una cultura de innovación en torno a la bioeconomía. A veces los sectores primarios se quedan o lo tenemos en la visión de ellos como quedan detrás. Tenemos que generar también una cultura de innovación ahí y una cultura de innovación en nuestro sistema universitario, que a veces también está desenganchado de las realidades económicas. Y queremos desarrollar una plataforma de comunicación y sensibilización social. Queremos contar a la sociedad las cosas que estamos haciendo en las distintas regiones, queremos contar los casos de éxito, por qué hacemos las cosas, los problemas que tenemos y cómo queremos resolverlos. No se trata de poner medallas siempre, se trata de ser transparente y decir, hay dificultades, hay problemas, esto es cómo los abordamos y cómo los queremos superar, pero sobre todo hacer entender a la sociedad la importancia de la transformación y los pasos que vamos dando conjuntamente. Y eso en muy poco tiempo es lo que es la plataforma de Bioregiones. Es una plataforma abierta. Hemos empezado con 3 regiones pioneras, de las cuales estamos enormemente agradecidos. Queremos fijar nuestros modos de funcionamiento e ir abriendo a muchas más regiones esta plataforma. Y sin más, gracias de nuevo a las 3 regiones pioneras y os digo, estar conectados porque ahora empieza la acción, como nos reclamaba Nick. Gracias.
Thank you very much, Ignacio. We are looking forward to further elaborate those ideas further with the regions, and with that we go directly to the regions. Sorry, you can go. Yeah, I'm asking Mr. Hubert Kaiser to the microphone. Mr. Hubert Kaiser is a forester by heart and spirit and the chief forester of the State Forest of Northern Westphalia. And with that, in the best position, tell us more about the role of forestry in the bioeconomy in North Westphalia. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Dear Madam Minister, dear Director Pillai, dear Mrs. Tuomas-Juka, on behalf of Minister Ursula Hein-Esser, who unfortunately cannot be here today, I would like to thank you for the invitation to this conference. In particular, I would like to thank the AFI for inviting North Rhine-Westphalia to become a partner of the Bioregions Facility project. It is a great honor for us to work together with the partner regions to advance the forest-based bioeconomy in the European regions. I expect many positive effects from this cooperation. The State Forestry Administration of North Rhine-Westphalia had become a member of AFI at a very early stage. Especially in the recent years, the cooperation has become more intensive, not least due to the establishment of the AFI office in Bonn. Financially supported by North Rhine-Westphalia, I cannot avoid mentioning. The solution to global social challenges such as climate change, resource efficiency, biodiversity loss, health and demographic change is one of the most urgent national and international tasks. All governments in Germany, and thus also North Rhine-Westphalia, are focused on developing appropriate solutions. Bioeconomy can, among many other definitions, understood as development of new products and services with sustainable use of biological resources. An example for that is a change of the society based on oil to a society based on renewable resources. Therefore, bioeconomy is particularly important for North Rhine-Westphalia as one of Europe's leading locations for chemicals, pharmaceuticals, and energy. In our state, we see a high potential in the bioeconomy, and therefore we are following the recommendation of the European Union and the German government, which just has presented its bioeconomy strategy. The bioeconomy is not only limited to technological solutions, but also opens up opportunities for socio-political changes. The bioeconomy is also a transdisciplinary topic with social, economic, ecological, and ethical opportunities and risks which must be weighed up. The consideration of natural limits of biologization, as well as the topics of biodiversity and resource conservation in the context of bioeconomy are important aspects. For my state government, the development of a bioeconomy is a strategic instrument to promote the transformation of NRW economy into a sustainable economy. The competitive supply of renewable raw materials must be secured in this context, by the way. Perhaps one or two of you have decided, already heard, that Germany, after having abandoned the use of nuclear energy, will also abandon energy production from fossil fuels, namely coal. North Rhine-Westphalia has always been the classic coal state in Germany. Hundreds of thousands of jobs depend directly or indirectly on domestic coal. While the last hard coal mine has been closed some time ago, tens of thousands of people are still employed in open-cast lignite mining. But here too the phase-out has begun. The large open-cast mines in my state, which can supposedly be seen from space, are located in the triangle of Aachen, Cologne, and Mönchengladbach, in other words, in the very west of our state. The state government has, based on the decisions of the federal government on the coal phase-out, initiated the transformation process in the region, the Rhenish mining region. In Germany, the end of the lignite mining could be a highly interesting and decisive test case for the implementation of new technological solutions and economic models. Equipped with almost 15 billion euros over 16 years for North Rhine-Westphalia alone, The impending structural change could be the acid test to prove that a bio and recycling economy can be successfully implemented. The Bioregions Facility can help to support the development of the Rhinish mining area as a Europe-wide important location for research and development in the field of chemical-based materials from wooden biomass as a part of sustainable bioeconomy. For example, the recultivation areas of former open-cast mining lignite mines can be excellent locations for the production of wooden biomass. There have been various approaches in the past to move the bioeconomy forward. In 2013, the previous state government had already published key points of a bioeconomy strategy. But at that time, North Rhine-Westphalia was the first region in Europe to extend the concept of the bioeconomy to include the health sector. Particular emphasis was placed on the strong life science sector in North Rhine-Westphalia, as biotechnology in particular enables technological solutions. Biopolymers, refineries, and biopharmaceuticals were seen as particular focal points. The cluster policy of the state at that time included the promotion of the bio-relevant cluster called BioNRW. Another important cluster is the CLIP, Cluster Initiative, Industrial Biotechnology. It focuses on topics of bioeconomy and industrial biotechnology, from basic research to international networking, from projects on material flow management to the promotion of startups and SMEs. In the bioeconomy, all areas are covered. The Bioeconomy Science Center, BioSC, is an outstanding example of research. Here the universities of Düsseldorf, Aachen, Bonn, and the research center Jülich have joined forces to form a center of excellence in which top-level research is carried out, precisely in the region of the transformation process described. Without going into details, it can be seen that similar fields of work are being carried out, thereas now planned for the Bioregions Facility. What is missing, however, is a forest-based bioeconomy sector. EFI Bonn and colleagues from the State Forest Administrations are in contact with BioSC, but cannot take over the task of the Bioregions Facility. The Bioregions Facility must occupy exactly the ecological niche that the forestry sector represents. In my opinion, this and the cooperation of various European regions is a real benefit for the Bioregions Facility. These two approaches are the unique selling proposition for the Bioregions Facility and justify our participation in the project. A significant side effect is that the institution also helps to create synergies and avoid duplication through the coordinating role. In politics, it's unfortunately common practice to stop or restart achievements and initiatives that government has once set in motion when a new government with a different political orientation comes into office. I'm sure you are familiar with this effect. This is also the case with the bioeconomy strategy of the state North Rhine-Westphalia. The state government, which has been in the office for almost 3 years, is now starting a new attempt to develop a bioeconomy strategy for the state. The talks between the various ministries involved have recently begun. It might be interesting for you to know that the forestry sector, with its existing projects, including the participation of the Bioregions Facility, not only fits perfectly to the planned bioeconomic strategy, but is also a very important player. In contrast to earlier activities, which I did describe before, we are now involved from the very beginning and can contribute to the project. I can say with all modesty that the idea of the Bioregions Facility has already made impression in my ministry. In the more densely wooded regions of our country, forest-based bioeconomy is already playing a more important role. Of course, the classical timber industry, which processes the raw material wood into value-adding way, is first sector to be mentioned. Did you know, for example, that nowhere else in the world is the production of kitchens so concentrated in one place as in one region from North Rhine-Westphalia called Ostwestfalen-Lippe? 3/4 of all domestic kitchen furniture manufacturers are based in this region, and they generate 60% of the industry's total turnover, more than 2.3 billion euros, and have 20% market share in Europe. The normal classical wood processing is one thing, but there were still deficits in the use of wood for biotechnology applications. Unfortunately, publications on bioeconomy mainly focus on the use and the processing of agriculture products. Even in the current bioeconomy strategy of the federal government, forestry is only, and for the first time in this document, mentioned on page 30 of 48 pages, even if it's correctly stated that it provides a large part of the biogenic raw materials. Otherwise, it is only described with the term agriculture and forestry, even though many statements can also be applied to forestry. There is therefore a further need for action here for the Bioregions Facility. It must be made much clearer to the public that forests and forestry offer more than just the well-known classic use of wood. The following is intended to give you a short overview over my state. North Rhine-Westphalia is the most populous state in Germany with almost 18 million inhabitants. 30 of 81 major German cities are located in its highly urbanized area. With around 10 million inhabitants, the Rhine-Ruhr metropolitan region in the center of our state is one of the 30 largest conurbans in the world and a central part of the most densely populated regions in Europe, the so-called blue banana. If it were an independent country, it would rank 7th in Europe in terms of economic power and 18th in the world. In view of the total area, the level of industrial development and the population density of state, North Rhine-Westphalia has considerable forest and timber resources. In comparison with other federal states, in Germany, North Rhine-Westphalia is rather poor in forests. The 935,000 hectares of forest only represent about 27% of the state's area. But with the total timber stock of 277 million cubic meter, forests still play an important economic role. Furthermore, North Rhine-Westphalia has a strong cluster of forestry and timber industry of national and international importance. The forestry timber industry employs about 160,000 full-time employees and 31,000 marginal employees. The forestry and timber industry cluster achieves a turnover of 42 billion euros. With about 7% of the turnover and 9% of the employees in the manufacturing industry, the economic cluster forestry and wood is also a considerable economic factor in North Rhine-Westphalia. The role of the cluster must not be underestimated, especially when it comes to a climate protection perspective. Currently, about 75% of the heating sector energy is provided by the renewable raw material wood. In North Rhine-Westphalia alone, the climate protection performance of the cluster amounts to 18 million tons of CO2 per year. And in Germany as a whole, 147 million tons, which turn compensate for 14% of the total greenhouse gas emissions. A statewide cluster initiative, ProHolz NRW, and the regional initiatives, Zentrum Holz, Wood Competence Center Rhineland, aim to strengthen the forest and timber industry. An important topic of these initiatives is the promotion of building with modern wood products. In April 2018, the Center of Competence Forest and Wood 4.0 started its work. The project aims to find answers to the question how Industry 4.0 can benefit the forestry and timber industry. Through intelligent, decentralized organization, processes are to be improved and new business models developed. The raw material wood is to be developed more sustainable and more precisely. The project is planned for 3 years and is led by the RIF Institute for Research and Transfer from Dortmund. North Rhine-Westphalia is an active member of the nationwide initiative Charta for Wood 2.0, which focuses on maintaining and expanding the services of sustainable, efficient wood use and long-term use for the benefit of climate protection and value creation, especially in rural areas. Coniferous tree species, especially spruce, are of great importance for the production and the value chain in the forestry and timber industry in North Rhine-Westphalia. The last state forest inventory, 2014, showed a share of 42% coniferous species, with 30% being spruce, which has the largest share of all tree species. Next is pine with 8%. Since 2018, North Rhine-Westphalia has been suffering from the worst forest damage for many decades. This is due to a combination of severe storms, extreme droughts, and heavy bark beetle infestation. The extreme weather conditions are seen in connection with climate change. As a consequence, the tree species spruce has suffered major damage, with considerable areas being completely destroyed. Current estimates 40,000 hectares, and it's still rising. We estimate about 100,000 hectares in North Rhine-Westphalia alone. For Germany, we have the number at the moment 265,000 hectares, which are destroyed. Within the framework of the Forest Climate Adaptation Strategy and the silvicultural concept of North Rhine-Westphalia, site-adapted mixed forest stands are recommended. While many of the mixed stands recommended within the framework of the concept also contain a proportion of conifer species. It is to be expected that the proportion of conifer species in North Rhine-Westphalia will further decrease in coming decades. The combined effect of forest damage and the adapted silvicultural strategy will reduce the resource of softwood available for the timber industry in the next decades. The timber industry is challenged to develop and implement new, innovative, and highly quality uses for hardwood products and technical applications. This is exactly where the Bioregions Facility is useful. It is of enormous importance for the future of our industry to react to the changes in the forests caused by climate change. Completely new wood-based products must be developed in order to continue to guarantee economic prospects for the forest owners and our wood industry. In North Rhine-Westphalia, as in other German states, we want to continue to follow the model of sustainable and multifunctional forestry without restriction, and neither promote an economic orientation alone, nor emphasize exclusively the social and protective functions. The great challenge remains to reconcile the various forest functions with one another. I would like to repeat my thanks to all those involved in inviting my state to participate in the interesting Bioregion Facility project. I hope that the expectations of this project will be fulfilled and that we will make a further contribution to overcoming the global climate crisis. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. Unfortunately, has to rush because of an unexpected change of agenda. We are very happy that we still have colleagues from Northern Westphalia here for the next days to further discuss, and a big thank you to Mr. Kaiser. With this, I would like to call Northern Westphalia onto the stage, and after we have one person leaving, we have now two here who represent North Karelia. Please, Risto Poutiainen and Harri Palviainen. Risto Poutiainen is the regional mayor of the region of North Karelia, with that the highest, well, representative from the policy side, and Mr. Risto and Mr. Harri Palviainen is the CEO of Business Joensuu. With that, I would like to give the floor to Risto.
Yeah. Yes, thank you, Diana, and it's nice to be here in Bilbao. I have been a couple of times earlier, and once in San Sebastian, and now here I think it's the fourth time altogether. The regional cooperation is very important. That's why it's good to be involved in this Bioregions Facility and the cooperation between the Basque Country and also the Nordrhein-Westfalen. But it's also important to be active member of the European Forested Regions Network, and recently, in last autumn, we made a cooperation agreement with the Japanese Nagano region. So it's between the regions, and the cooperation is important. That's why I'm going to present what is the North Karelian expertise in bioeconomy and plans in that perspective. First, a little bit of the North Karelia and the bioeconomy. I think I had the same map as earlier said. It is the European Forest Institute is located also in my regions, and there we have around 600 specialists in the field of forestry, and the European Forest Institute is one of that, but also the University and University of Applied Sciences and national institutes and so on. We have our forests annual growth is around 10.3 million cubic meters, and we use it varies from 6 to 7 million cubic meters. Annual turnover is 2 billion euros, and we have 500 companies and 6,000 employees in the field of forestry. We are not, as we look at the inhabitants, we are not that big one like Basque Country or the Nordrhein-Westfalen, but I think it's very average of the Finnish regions, and we are bordering the Russia. So just to give importance of what is this bioeconomy and the forest-based bioeconomy means to us, this is we've already noticed that the European Union bioeconomy action plan and what is the role of the North Karelia. So this is the turnover picture. So the forestry is a little bit opposite that average in Europe. So the forestry means and the forest machines means around 60% of the bioeconomy turnover. The agriculture is not that important in my region. That's why we have based to the forest-based bioeconomy and the development on that side. I concentrate mainly on the strategic point of view, and Harri is explaining more of this business side. But we have done from the 90s strategic work. It started with this wood energy program of East Finland, and then bioenergy strategy of my regions, and then up the roadmap of oil-free and low-carbon North Karelia 2040. And at the moment, we are updating our forest strategy and also the climate and energy strategy. On Wednesday, we have a meeting what is the forestry and the climate change is meaning to my regions, and we are updating these strategies, so it's at the moment going on. So we have so far made quite ambitious targets sustainable targets for 2030. So we are going to be, as a region, 100% fossil oil-free region by 2030. Share of the regional renewable energy is in total consumption 100%. At the moment, we have around 62/3 of our energy is in my region, so it's renewable energy. But also the net reduction of greenhouse gases 80% from 2007 to 2030. In Finland, we have a new government, and our Finnish new government has set up very ambitious objectives for carbon neutrality. So the idea is to be, as a Finland, 2035 carbon neutral state, and the roadmaps are now at the moment. Our ministries in Helsinki are doing these roadmaps so far, and we are, as a region, stating what is our role to implement these sustainable targets. But we have also set up a bioeconomy investment turnover. At the moment, we have 2 billion euros, and the goal is 2.7 billion euros by 2030. Smart specialization, one of our regional programs, we have also set up the targets for smart specialization, and we have 2 lines in my region, so forest bioeconomy, one line, and another line is technologies and materials. You have also to see the picture of this forest fractures. John Deere factory is located in my region, so it's cross-cutting also this the forest bioeconomy, but also the technology and materials can combine each other. So this smart specialization strategy is very important to implement the regional development. We'll see this forest bioeconomy cluster. So the bottom is the sustainable forest management. So this is very important to manage the forest sustainably. But if you look at this bioeconomy, it shows the different parts of the educational part, business part, but also the R&D part. And I think the business part, the Harry is explained more detailed later on. We have an earlier discussion of the rural and urban regions, and I don't go with this picture closely, but just to mention that if you look at this bioeconomy investments in my region from 2013, you'll see that there's all over the region investments, and we have at the moment a special growth program for bioeconomy investments. And if you just to mention that the bioeconomy is good for the urban areas, the R&D and investments there, but also for the rural areas. And this is the reason which is utmost important to develop the bioeconomy, because it links the urban and rural areas, at least in my region. Nowadays we have a lot of discussion of the climate issues, and we have also developed altogether the climate smart forestry. It's very important to also to develop the technical points how to manage the forest climate friendly. Then the municipalities have a very big role on implementing the strategies, and we have this kind of Hinku municipalities. It's the how to say this low carbon or the carbon activities in municipalities, and the idea is to call for these Hinku municipalities in Finland to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 30% is now from 2007 to 2015, but the goal is to reduce it 80%. And what is the situation in my region? So we have calculated that so far we are in line of the objectives. So we have so far the reduction is from 2007 to 2017 is in 10 years period, so we have almost 30%, so we have reduced the CO2 emissions, and so we are in a very good line to manage to reduce it by 80% by 2030. So the summary of my reason, I think the key factors is this, what we have done so far is the long-term strategical work. So it's a unique collaboration expertise, participatory processes, including local level. We are making this strategy. It's very important to have all the actors involved. But the sustainable use of our own natural resources, this is very important for the local and regional economy. But we have also had and have the strong will on regional level, including the political level. But why this bioeconomy? So we have seen that it has the positive impacts to economy, environment, climate, and balanced regional development. But also it's implement the global European Union and national targets. So this was my part of the presentation, and Harri continues with the business side.
Okay. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. And as Risto said, I take a bit a city and then a bit business perspective on this. And I was listening, in fact, Mark, in the beginning when you were talking about this, that let's put nature in kind of center of the business or the economy and center of the business, and that bio is about life, and I almost got touched about it. So let's see. But my angle is more that how to make business out of it and how to support the business there. And few words about Joensuu first. Joensuu is the at least informal capital of North Karelia bioregion. And when looking still when we are moving from the kind of traditional economy and traditional business to more this bio directions, it's still about growth, so that the cities and regions and especially businesses need still to grow, and it's important for North Karelia and it's important for city of Joensuu that we have been growing and population is growing, and the other part is that how to get new ideas, how to get new innovations, and how to have also youth and more young people and so on. Then we have been lucky here that we have the strong education system, and we have university and University of Applied Sciences and vocational education, and we have the European Forest Institute operating in North Karelia and in Joensuu region, and that's a good start for the growth, and it has been enabling the growth in our region. This is, by the way, a nice system, only 2 buttons. So one indication of the growth, when you get more people and when the businesses grow, you need, for example, more buildings, you need more flats. And here are some of numbers that while the number of inhabitants has been growing, we have been investing as a city, as the business ecosystem to buildings and constructions. You can see some numbers here. In euros, this is about close to 1 billion euros investments around this river, what you can see in the picture. And then is the question that when you invest to buildings, for example, how you do it wisely from the perspective of bioeconomy. And I believe that it has been touched already today a few times that it is wood construction. That's a smart way to support the growth, and it's a carbon storage. And same time, it's not the traditional way to build. So it means that companies, the organizations who are doing the construction, they need to also evolve and do in a new way things. And that's what has happened, which means that new competencies around construction industry has been built. And that's, again, it's together with the education and research organization and companies and city. So somebody mentioned today, I believe that it was in Sweden, you said that 7 or 8 flats, wooden houses. Yeah, we have 14 stories, so that's but it's not about that. Is it how high it is? But it's a new way to build. It's not easy to start from scratch to build 14 floors wooden flats. So it's a new thing. Then is the other thing that what city can do is that our city has decided to become a carbon neutral by not 2030 or 2040, but after 4 years from now. And many of the companies, the businesses operating in Joensuu region has committed. They have signed an agreement that we want to support this initiative and do actions there. And there we are in international networks to learn and to share the experiences, what we have learned on this path to become carbon neutral. And one thing is that it's a bit harder when you are living in a country where there is 6 months snowing and you need to heat the flats and buildings. So there is a bit more work on this path to become carbon neutral. The other part which was touched already today earlier was this public procurement. And here you can see some numbers. I believe that one of our team members already mentioned these numbers, but we have put a lot of focus on this, that how the public organizations can support the kind of green procurement, to support the bioeconomy via that. And these are concrete actions, concrete numbers. Then from the city perspective is also the where to put the businesses, how to support the businesses so that they can do the bioeconomy business. And for example, here you can see the green park where you have a harbor and you have the harbor connection through the rivers to the sea, so that you can go to Baltic Seas and you can transport the results of your production by sea, which is a green way to transport things. Then about growth and businesses, we have been lucky that the businesses in North Karelian and Joensuu region has been growing. We have had a growth which has been higher than on average in Finland in other cities and other regions. And then is the question of how to continue that growth in a matter that it's from the bioeconomy perspective, it's feasible, and then it utilizes the opportunities in bioeconomy. And some of the companies are already in that path, some are not. And some are very strongly making already business out from bioeconomy, and somebody are just on a learning curve. This is a terrible picture, by the way. There is so much information. It's more like an analytical picture, but I thought that I still show it. And this is value chains around our forest industry, forestry machinery industry, and then we have evolving circular economy ecosystem. And it's already currently, if you look at the numbers and numbers of how many companies, what is the revenue, it's close to 300 companies and it's about €1 billion revenue. And it's not only about companies, but you can see on the bottom there is research and education organizations. And that's, as I started in the beginning about the growth and the students and kind of innovation ecosystem, it's really important that our research and education organizations are doing cooperation with our companies, so that these value chains where we do, for example, forestry, and then we refine the products out from the forestry, it's not stable. So while we go towards this bioeconomy, we need to carefully think about and support that how the value chains evolve. And I raise a few examples here. Now I need to be careful that you show probably the time that when you kick me out, but I raise 4 examples from this picture. There is industrial products and dissolving pulp, so that we take wood out of forest, it goes to a huge factory which makes pulp. And then we export the pulp currently to China, and in China they make clothes. Then our business opportunity is that how about if we don't only make the pulp, but we refine it further in our region, and then we export more refined products. And that's already a big business as a dissolving pulp, but there is opportunities. You can see that out from that pulp, they make clothes, you can make tires for cars, you can make toothpaste, you can make a lot of different products out of that same wood-based dissolving pulp. And that's a business opportunity for our region. The other part was that there was examples of these plastic cups earlier used a couple of times. And you cannot see, but there is a blue logo. The company name is Akilva named company, which is making those products already today out of wood-based materials, and they are selling those already internationally. So it's a huge business opportunity, and we have already something going on there. We have some knowledge, we have some companies, we have some research to support there. Then is the third opportunity which I would like to raise is the wood construction itself. And it's not only about making flats and buildings out of wood because of making those out of wood and having the carbon storage, but it's also a change opportunity in the construction industry so that manufacturing is more industrial. It's more based on pre-made modules, it's more factorized so that it's not going out from scratch outside there and build, but you take ready-made modules and build the construction out of those. And there, wood is a perfect material to make it happen. And that's something that we'll try to support on our region. Then the fourth opportunity is on the right-hand corner, this evolving circular economy ecosystem. That we see already now that there has been a lot of new companies which are using, for example, side products of the forestry. They are using waste from the metal industry to create new products, to create new materials. And that's happening, and that's what we are supporting. And what is happening around this is that different business domains, different science areas are combined together so that you combine forestry, chemistry, ICT, for example. So that it's not a silo thing, but it's across sciences and cross business domains items. Are you kicking me out? Good. Then I show this picture still. This is about then when you look at what we see is really important that I said that the value chains are evolving. And in the value chains, we need also new companies. We need startups. We need the companies which are fresh, which have new ideas. They have new ways of doing things. And we have set up, this is an example path from idea so that you have some business idea and then we have support services to make it as a startup, put it in an accelerator program. We have started investment funds so that we can support the startup also financially. Then we have coaching programs that how do you grow the business and then how do you take the business abroad, how you make it an international business. And this is something which is really important that when you have this opportunity in bioeconomy, you have the value chains evolving, you have the ecosystem of research, education and businesses, how to make new companies, how to make new business and business which is able to grow, which is not just an idea which dies, but it grows and it goes further stages and it goes to international business. And this is something where we have been investing a lot and set up new services. And as said, this investment funds is one way to do it. And positive thing is that last year there was over 500 new companies in Joensuu region. There was over 50 companies who came to Joensuu region. We had more than 60 million euros which went through us to support the growth of the company. So we are on a good track on that. And then on orange, on the very bottom corner, there is this. It's not only idea, but it's an initiative which we are working together with you here here that how about having bioeconomy focused accelerator and fund program which is across Europe so that it's several countries. And this is something that we are happy to work with you all together to make it happen and take it further from here. Now you are kicking me out. Still 2 minutes. You are too kind. I don't go this picture through. I just show it that when I started from the city, then I went to business, and it's not only about city, it's not only about the business, it's not only about research, it's not only about education, but it's about ecosystem who works together. And us as a region and city, our role is to support that this kind of ecosystem is alive and it's alive and kicking, and things are happening in concrete matter. And it's good that we have different actors in the region and city, and it enables this, what we are doing around bioeconomy. Now, this is the last slide.
Right. Thank you very much, Harry. With this, I would like to ask Minister Tapia up to the stage and to tell us more about the Basque bioeconomy. We are being hosted, we will have more examples, and I'm curious to hear a bit more from your side. Please.
Thank you very much. And you're going to be very inspiring for our strategy, so thank you very much for being with us in this new facility. You will forgive me, but I'm here in Bilbao, and all these slides are in Spanish, and I am going to try to explain in Spanish and in Basque, and then if there are more questions, I will give answers in English. Bueno, hasiko naiz pixka bat Euskadin bioekonomia zergatikan eta nundikan hasi genuen pentsatzen. Ez daukagu ibilbidea oso luzea nor kalelian bezala, baina badugu gure zatitxoa eta gustatuko litzaiguke hortikan gure indarguneak nagusitzea eta hortikan negozio berriak egitea. Bueno, esan genuen, bioekonomia Euskadin nondikan ateratzen da eta zein dira gure oinarriak, ezta? Bueno, gure oinarriak dira erkidego nolabait oso aurreratua gaudela, hasiera batean hasi ginen, garapen jasangarriaren alde lan egiten, eta horrek suposatzen du eragin bezala aldaketa klimatikoaren kontra egiten dugula, eta hasiera-hasieratikan 2015ean dagoeneko definitu zen estrategia klimatiko bat, klima 2050 aipatun zena, eta hor bertan ja agertu zen zein izango zen gure estrategia. Eta hortikan 2016an hasi ginen baita ere energia ikuspegitikan zein izango zen transizioa energetikoan egin genuen guztia. Por tanto, partiendo de lo que era una estrategia en contra o luchando contra el cambio climático ya en el año 2015 y en el 16 establecemos lo que va a ser nuestra estrategia en la transición energética también. Creo que tenemos las bases suficientes como para poder empezar a trabajar en bioeconomía. Siempre partimos de una base importante en Euskadi y yo creo que es importante señalarlo, y es que todas las estrategias que ponemos en marcha tienen en cuenta la aportación que vamos a hacer a la sociedad, al medio ambiente, pero no nos olvidamos de que todo ello tiene que ser una oportunidad para generar riqueza y generar empleo. Es decir, trabajamos ambos al mismo tiempo, como dos caras de una misma moneda. No trabajamos únicamente desde el punto de vista de lucha contra el cambio climático, mejora de nuestra sociedad, mejora del medio ambiente, que también, pero todo ello utilizándola como una oportunidad. Y es lo que nos permite un país pequeño como nosotros, pues estar posicionado internacionalmente. Bueno, si analizamos cómo se encuentra Euskadi, desde el punto de vista de cumplimiento con los ODS, con los Objetivos de Desarrollo Sostenible en el conjunto del Estado español, observamos que nos encontramos en una posición buena, en la posición elevada, pero eso no significa que ya hemos cumplido con todos los objetivos, sino que tenemos que continuar trabajando por la consecución de todos y cada uno de ellos y participar de una forma muy, muy activa. Es decir, no podemos perder esa posición, sino la tenemos que mejorar. ¿Qué más? Bueno, desde luego el pasado verano, en julio del pasado verano, el Lehendakari, que nos ha acompañado a la primera parte de la jornada, convoca a todo su Consejo de Gobierno y establece que tenemos que luchar de verdad contra el cambio climático y nos pone a trabajar para establecer medidas ambiciosas que nos permitan de verdad de una forma efectiva trabajar en ese sentido. Y lo que hacemos es declarar la situación de emergencia climática para poder abordar actuaciones muy concretas. ¿Con qué objetivo? Pues desde luego ser neutros en carbono, una economía neutra en carbono. No vamos a llegar a 2025 como nuestros compañeros de North Karelia, ya nos gustaría. Nos ponemos el 2050, de acuerdo con lo que nos dice Europa, pero como meta máxima. Vamos a tratar de llegar antes. De tal manera que tengamos una sociedad, un territorio más respetuoso con el medio ambiente y trabajemos de verdad para que la economía basada en el sector bio sea una fuente de inspiración y de riqueza para el conjunto del territorio. El cambio climático es una realidad incuestionable y lo estamos viendo todos y cada uno de los días, por tanto ya no toca empezar a discutir si es cierto o no es cierto, sino sabiendo que está aquí, cómo vamos a hacer frente a todo lo que nos está viniendo y cómo nos está impactando desde todos los puntos de vista. Y no solamente desde la situación ambiental y lo que nos impacta como sociedad, sino lo que nos impacta en nuestro modelo agrario, en nuestro modelo alimentario, en nuestro modelo económico, en nuestro modelo de viaje, de ocio, es decir, cómo todo ello nos está impactando en general en la vida de todas las personas. Y sabiendo que eso es así, ¿qué oportunidades de crecimiento se pueden estar dando? Desde luego, Euskadi, luego lo veremos, es un territorio en el que hay mucha masa forestal, en la que se ha trabajado durante mucho tiempo, lo decían también, se hizo una apuesta muy importante en la utilización de la madera local, que viene del pino radiata, que es lo que más tenemos en nuestros bosques, y que se pudiera utilizar en construcción. Fue una lucha muy importante el que se pudiera utilizar en construcción y hoy ya no es solamente que se utiliza como anteriormente en los encofrados de la construcción de hormigón, sino que se utiliza como materia prima importante para empezar a construir edificios únicamente basados en madera. Y no solamente en edificación, sino en cualquier otro tipo de obra a través de paneles ya preformados, es decir, esa línea de trabajo ya estaba preparada, pero teníamos que continuar avanzando. Bueno, además, creemos en ese sentido que la bioeconomía puede ser una oportunidad para transformar otros sectores. Es decir, no solamente continuar haciendo lo que ya estábamos haciendo, es decir, el business as usual, sino cómo puede impactar este tipo de economía en otros sectores industriales. Si hablábamos de automoción, Euskadi tiene de todos los componentes de automoción que se fabrican en el conjunto del Estado español, Euskadi fabrica más del 54%. ¿Cómo puede afectar una transformación de estas características al sector de automoción de Euskadi? Sabiendo que además estamos haciendo frente a una transformación debido a la entrada del vehículo eléctrico. Bueno, todo esto puede suponer una oportunidad de negocio diferente, una transformación, analicémoslo. Sector químico, no tenemos mucho, pero tenemos refinería alguna bastante cerca. Hay también oportunidades de transformación de ese sector, además de la creación de nuevos negocios. Por tanto, hicimos esa reflexión y nos pusimos un poco a trabajar. Además, si observamos cómo de maduro se nos ve desde el punto de vista europeo en cuanto a nuestras capacidades de I+D, pues también estamos en la parte de un verde más profundo. Significa que capacidades de I+D tenemos, pero eso nos pasa mucho en Euskadi. Capacidades de I+D existen, pero cómo las transformamos después en negocio. Lo que denominan ese valle de la muerte, cómo lo conseguimos transformar. Hemos invertido mucho dinero público y privado en investigación, cómo conseguimos que haya un negocio, que haya empresas que se generen a partir de ahí. Oportunidades tenemos, aprovechémoslas. Bueno, además de todo eso, ¿qué tiene Euskadi? Pues acceso a recursos, como lo vemos ahí. Si en el conjunto de Europa el 40% del territorio es forestal, en Euskadi es el 55%. Bueno, es un porcentaje muy elevado del cual tenemos que utilizar las oportunidades que tenemos. Un tejido industrial importante, más del 24% de nuestro PIB es industrial manufacturero. hay tradición industrial. Tenemos capacidades de I+D, como decíamos, en general y también en el sector bio. Talento también tenemos, universidades, centros de formación profesional, sabemos trabajar de forma clusterizada e intercluster, y tal como decía, as you were telling, North Carolina as an ecosystem. Euskadi has been, the Basque Country has been working as an ecosystem because we are not so small in population as you are, but anyway, we have been working universities, research centers, companies, society, and the Basque government all together in order to make an ecosystem. So we have been working in this sense, and it's something that is very, very important for the issue to establish new policies and to work all together. Because sometimes the government establishes an objective and says, okay, we are going to work for this. And the companies and universities says, okay, is this a good idea, or is this government talking about I don't know what? So it is very, very important to work all together. Y en Euskadi yo creo que eso lo sabemos hacer. Hemos trabajado mucho tiempo públicos y privados y es importante que todos compartamos esa estrategia. ¿Cuál es la hoja de ruta que nos hemos marcado? Bueno, pues yo creo que es bastante evidente. Primero, saber qué capacidades tenemos como Euskadi, dónde están nuestras fortalezas, nuestras debilidades, saber qué oportunidades tenemos y hacia dónde queremos avanzar. Y siempre hacer un benchmarking internacional. ¿Dónde están los mejores compañeros de viaje? ¿Quiénes tienen las mejores prácticas? ¿Qué está ocurriendo desde el punto de vista de la Comisión Europea? ¿Hacia dónde se están marcando las estrategias? Y en base a esos dos objetivos, evidentemente, pues tratar de marcarnos, o esos análisis, ese diagnóstico, tratar de marcar cuál va a ser nuestra misión adaptada a nuestro territorio y qué objetivos nos vamos a marcar. Bueno, pues lo que hace todo el mundo, vamos a decir, no hemos descubierto nada, lo hemos adaptado a nuestra situación particular, a Euskadi, porque no valen estrategias comunes, cada uno las tiene que adaptar a su situación particular y saber qué puede aportar y qué puede aprender de los demás. Y una vez definido eso, bueno, pues trabajamos con diferentes participantes. Es decir, todo eso que establecimos de una forma más gobierno con sus entes públicos, dijimos, lo tenemos que contrastar con la parte privada porque si no nos vamos a quedar, como decía, un poco solos. ¿Lo compartimos con quién? Pues con clusters, evidentemente, que es una política muy típica nuestra. Política de clústeres, en segundo lugar con los agentes científicos y tecnológicos y la Universidad del País Vasco, porque es quien más capacidades tiene en este sentido. También lo trabajamos con algunas empresas de Euskadi que ya estaban haciendo sus, permítanme la expresión, pinitos, sus ideas y las estaban llevando a desarrollo, y junto con diferentes agentes que estaban involucrados en todo este sector. ¿Para qué? Pues bueno, para establecer cuál era nuestra situación y contrastarla con la parte interna, pero también hicimos el contraste europeo con con personas expertas que nos iban dando también su feedback de qué es lo que estábamos haciendo bien y qué podíamos establecer de una mejor manera. Y a partir de ese contraste, pues bueno, establecimos cuál era nuestra visión, que no es otra que, en definitiva, aprovechar los recursos que tenemos y tratar de generar más economía y más empleo. Y a partir de ahí, bueno, pues establecer los objetivos principales de desarrollo de I+D, desarrollo de empresa, de visibilización, de concienciación, de colaboración con otros agentes y que nos permitiera darle un impulso definitivo a esta estrategia de bioeconomía. ¿Sobre qué sectores trabajamos como aquellos en los que había más oportunidades? Bueno, pues son los que aparecen ahí. En primer lugar, la industria forestal y de la madera, donde principalmente se había venido trabajando hasta ahora, pero donde existen nuevas oportunidades y se van abriendo unos campos muy distintos. Además de la industria y la madera, tradicionalmente, pues sobre el sector de la química un poco más verde de la que tenemos en estos momentos. ¿Qué puede hacer la industria del papel, que viene también de la industria forestal y madera? Es el siguiente paso que podríamos mejorar en ese sentido. El sector textil, del que hemos hablado y donde tenemos alguna compañía importante que ha hecho experiencias muy novedosas en la utilización de esa celulosa para, bueno, pues para poner nuevos tejidos en el mercado y nuevos aspectos. Sobre la automoción que decía, sin olvidarnos también de lo que puede suponer la alimentación. Es decir, no estamos tratando solo de buscar nuevas startups, nuevas empresas, nuevas ideas, sino que empresas que ya existen aborden ese intraemprendimiento, es decir, que emprendan nuevos negocios desde el sector en el que ya se encuentran. ¿Por qué? Porque creemos que es mucho más fácil, puesto que ellos conocen ya el mercado y saben qué les está demandando el mercado, y el establecer nuevas formas de actuación podía ser una manera rápida de introducirnos en ese mercado. ¿Y para ello qué hemos hecho? Pues además de todos los recursos que ponemos a disposición de nuestro tejido productivo desde el punto de vista de I+D+I, piensen ustedes que alrededor de 150 a 170 millones de euros van en convocatorias de I+D todos los años. Bueno, para un país pequeño como nosotros son unos recursos muy relevantes a los que se añade la parte privada, evidentemente. Hicimos unas convocatorias piloto durante los años 18-19, la tercera será la de este año, con casi 4 millones de euros dedicados precisamente a esas experiencias piloto solo para proyectos de bioeconomía. Siempre considerando que no nos íbamos a quedar en la I+D, sino que íbamos a llegar a una aplicación industrial y a la posibilidad de generar un nuevo negocio. Estos casi 4 millones no estaban dedicados al ámbito probablemente de una I+D más básica, sino que lo que queríamos era desarrollar nuevo negocio de nuevo y desarrollar nuevas oportunidades. Bueno, pues en estos 2 años, porque la tercera convocatoria, insisto, es la de este año 2020, ha habido proyectos muy bonitos, muy interesantes, provenientes de empresas que ya estaban funcionando. Y algunos de los ejemplos se los voy a explicar en este momento. Bueno, partimos de una papelera, Smurfit Kappa, que lo que va a hacer es, o lo que está haciendo y lo que ha desarrollado es un nuevo sistema de lo que son los acolchados que utilizamos en el sector agrario, es decir, donde se implanta todo, bueno, se planta más que se implanta, ahí parecen lechugas, yo creo, y donde se ponían antes esos plásticos negros para que no creciera la hierba y no se estropeara todo. Bueno, pues en lugar de utilizar plásticos, nuevos acolchados que vienen de unos elementos que estaban tradicionalmente en el sector del papel, es decir, a base de celulosa que es proveniente de nuestros bosques. Una empresa tradicional que ya existe y que aborda un negocio absolutamente distinto. O Glefaran, donde se utiliza el biochar para hacer ¿qué? Bueno, pues 2 tipos de cosas diferentes. Por una parte, para mejorar los nutrientes en un determinado campo, en una determinada plantación, o incluso para mezclarlos con nutrientes para alimentación animal. De tal manera que alguien que se estaba dedicando a un negocio también distinto, que tiene su propia unidad de negocio y que tiene una empresa que funciona, bueno, abre un campo en el sector de la bioeconomía aprovechando algunos de esos recursos que estaba produciendo como casi residuos, vamos a decir. O una empresa como Etorki que dice, ¿qué puedo hacer de esa corteza de pino que me queda como residuo de nuevo? ¿Qué puedo hacer para poderla utilizar para nuevos métodos, para nuevas formas de hacer? ¿Y qué puedo hacer con esa corteza de pino desde el punto del pino radiata, que es el nuestro, el que tenemos aquí, como decía antes, para poderlo utilizar en otro tipo de aplicaciones? Desde Baskegur también, dentro del mundo de la construcción, lo que se hace es utilizar algo que hubiera sido un residuo previamente como aislante 100% natural también en este caso. Es decir, si a esa construcción que ya es de madera inicialmente le ponemos un aislamiento que también proviene de la madera, pues estamos teniendo una huella de carbono, desde luego, en ese aspecto muchísimo menor y teniendo una producción absolutamente biológica. O desde Papresa, también otra empresa papelera que utiliza una fibra también en el ámbito textil. Decíamos que tenemos alguna empresa además que lo utiliza para fabricar esos textiles y son empresas, insisto, que ya están en el mercado, que son rentables y que están funcionando en Euskadi desde hace mucho tiempo. o la cooperativa lana, donde aquellos subproductos de la madera que no se sabe muy bien qué hacer con ellos, bueno, los están utilizando para mobiliario urbano. No estamos hablando de construir viviendas, sino que estamos incluso utilizándolos para mobiliario urbano, sustituyendo el habitual casi acero y plástico que vemos en muchas ocasiones por otro tipo de materiales muchísimo más naturales y que provienen de nuestros bosques. Y el caso más extraño, quizás, donde nuestras agencias de desarrollo rural, junto con los productores de leche de nuestras ovejas, que son un poco diferentes, las ovejas lachas, que, bueno, además de darnos un queso fantástico después, el queso Idiazábal, bueno, pues se utiliza la lana de esas ovejas, ¿para qué? Pues para ser los rellenos de los abrigos, por ejemplo, de María Clé o de algunas alfombras que va a comercializar IKEA. Bueno, son unos usos absolutamente distintos y que además en este caso pueden suponer una diversificación para un ámbito rural y que decíamos pretendemos tener un desarrollo equilibrado en nuestro territorio. Bueno, pues es un ejemplo muy diferente que no viene directamente de la madera, pero que utiliza unos recursos que ya tenemos y con los cuales no sabíamos qué hacer. Estábamos acumulando lana de oveja lacha y no sabíamos qué hacer con ella. Bueno, pues hay una utilización clara de esos aspectos. O Smartcom, que lo que hace es utilizar la gallinaza para poder tener, bueno, pues, unos fertilizantes muy naturales directamente pues, utilizables en nuestras huertas y en nuestro sector agrario, que por cierto es bastante pequeño también. Tengan ustedes en cuenta que a pesar de todo lo que se está hablando del sector agrario y los problemas que produce, bueno, en Euskadi es un 1% de nuestro PIB. Es más bien una agricultura muy familiar, muy de calidad, muy cuidada y que yo creo que no nos podemos permitir el lujo de abandonar, puesto que muchas de nuestras familias en los caseríos y para intentar tener esa población bien asentada en el territorio tenemos que continuar cuidando. Luego, también a ellos hay que tenerles hay que tener un especial cuidado con este tipo de productores. Bueno, y visto que había estas posibilidades, porque a lo largo de 2 años nos habían aparecido ideas absolutamente novedosas y, bueno, para nosotros al menos, que se veía con unas posibilidades de generación de nueva empresa realmente interesantes, lo que dijimos es, bueno, vamos a poner en marcha una alianza vasca por la bioeconomía. Una alianza donde inicialmente, en diciembre, pusimos en marcha todo tipo de agentes que nos permitiera precisamente generar ese ecosistema y nos ayude a avanzar más rápido. Las empresas con las que se constituyó la alianza son las que figuran ahí, algunas de ellas con proyectos importantes como hemos visto, con entidades públicas tanto del ámbito más asociado a la investigación y a la generación de riqueza en el sector agroalimentario vasco, pero también la parte más de desarrollo empresarial y de desarrollo energético, donde la biomasa también está teniendo un papel importante. Y a partir de ahí se abre a la participación de otro tipo de empresas que nos permita, insisto, avanzar mucho más rápido y generar nuevas ideas que podamos ir financiando en alguna medida y tratando de aprovechar las oportunidades nuestras y la cooperación con esta Bioregión de la que somos miembros. Bueno, se establecen una serie de compromisos que no voy a leerlos de forma detallada, pero sí queremos traccionar de esa transición hacia la bioeconomía, traccionar como gobierno de unas oportunidades que ya tenemos, incrementar la actividad económica, que no me voy a cansar de decirlo, orientar las capacidades que ya tenemos hacia ese mundo más empresarial y impulsando la generación de investigación y de generación de nueva empresa. Asimismo, sí queremos atraer soluciones que ya hayan sido probadas en otros lugares. No hace falta que todas sean desarrolladas en Euskadi, sino atraer otras experiencias interesantes de otros lugares. Desarrollar infraestructuras de carácter imprescindible aquí en Euskadi, tener una clara vocación de trabajar de forma internacional. No podemos estar aislados, tenemos que trabajar desde el punto de vista europeo, por supuesto, con otros socios de otras regiones, contribuir a crear esa red internacional, impulsar acciones también de divulgación y ahondar en esas oportunidades que se pueden generar en los próximos años y que hoy ni nos damos cuenta quizá de las que pueden ser. Y de este modo lo que hicimos es trabajar mucho gracias al Instituto Europeo, el EFI, a crear esta facility de las bioregiones que nos permite precisamente eso, estar muy conectado en Europa y generar las capacidades necesarias y aprender de otros que tengan buenas experiencias. Como ya lo ha presentado Ignacio, voy a pasar, no me voy a centrar en esto, pero sí es importante que veamos que aquellos que tenemos oportunidades lideremos un poco ese cambio y trabajemos bueno, pues tratando de gestionar esa situación. Eta nire aldetikan besterik ez, hausen da, egin duguna orain arte eta hemendikan aurrera ere sendotu nahi duguna. Yo creo que el compromiso del Lehendakari estando hoy con nosotros, lo que nos está diciendo es que de verdad esto es una apuesta de Euskadi, no de hoy, sino de futuro y bueno, teniendo socios como los que tenemos en esta facility, seguro que va a ser muchísimo más fácil. Eskerrik asko.
Thank you very much for this introduction and discourse also on the vast bioeconomy, Minister Tapia. With this, I want to open the session for discussion. We have still 2 regions here. Questions? Brave ones first. One. We have talked a lot about different hubs and the Bioeconomy Alliance initiatives to start up new ideas, new business models. We heard earlier today also about new business models to be developed. And now we have at least 2 regions sitting here. Do you have already some ideas on how you sort of can link up with those different structures or ideas on how to take them further? Who wants to start?
So if I start, so I think as already has been mentioned, so it's maybe easier as like a region like North Karelia to make that kind of hubs. I think the regional hubs between the different actors at the regional level, so it's all the stakeholders to be involved, but also the hubs as a European-wide, because it's very important to change the information, because so the climate change, as we already had been said, but also the bioeconomy, the role is growing so fast. And for us, for example, the North Karelian point of view, so for example, I mentioned that we made an agreement with the Japanese regions. It's Nakano area and also Hokkaido is another region in Japanese. So also in Japan, the role of the bioeconomy is growing, and so this is very important to change information. The hubs like this Bioregions Facility is very good, but also the regional hubs are very. So we have made an agreement, for example, our Natural Institute, our university, the European Forest Institute, but also the Business Joensuu and other actors to be involved. So we need the regional hubs, but also the between the regions, European-wide, but also the globally.
I totally agree with that, of course, but I think that in Europe it has to be something very important from the point of view of empowering the regions and the regional hubs, because I think that each region is different. Of course, you have been developing a very strong strategy for more years than we have been here. So there are important experiences like yours that we have to share, that we have to analyze the best practices. But the European Union, I think, that has to empower our regions instead of empowering only states, because sometimes regions in the same state are totally different. So it is important to work in Europe, and of course to work with other regions and other countries that are all over the world, of course, because it's something that every region, every country, every city has to work for, but considering the particularities of each of the areas.
Yeah, if I may continue on that. somehow this is an opportunity also for a new type of cooperation. Why it seems that this is so strong change in way people think and how the values have changed if you look at last 5-10 years and then at the same time there is a big opportunity for, if I take the classes of business, that new business also but then is the question that is the traditional cooperation models enough so that we can try new things and maybe test and do in agile way.
Thank you very much. Any other questions from the audience? No. Mark, please.
Thank you. It's a question for Harry, because you are working very much on promoting innovation in Joensuu. How do you imagine in the future the collaboration with other regions like Basque Country, Northern Rhine-Westphalia in terms of innovation? Do you imagine yourself also collaborating with all these other innovation centers? And how do you think this transnational, transregional cooperation could help to be more innovative in terms of bioeconomy in the different regions?
Thank you. Excellent question. Excellent question, because I believe that we should utilize the strengths of each other so that it's a general, not only on bioeconomy, but generally that you have a win-win type of situation, that you know something, you are strong on something, we are strong on something, and we put those together, and then we both bring our added value, and it creates a win-win situation. So I see it extremely important on today's world, and it's kind of it's the traditional that we expect that the change is happening faster than it really gonna happen, and then we don't see how big it's gonna be. And when we do the cooperation across the region, then we are able to kind of create the future more together. And I believe that then it goes to practical levels, that we have you said that I'm working a lot with innovation in Joensuu, and we're trying to create new ways of doing together, like with university, so that what is the good way to do together with university and companies to create new innovation and business? Can we innovate on the way of doing? And I believe that then we can learn from each others in different regions. So it's very important.
Is it possible to continue? So I think the timing is now good, because as was mentioned, for example, the European Union funding for next 2021 to 2027, so the structural funds programs are now, we are making them, so also as was already mentioned, these CAP programs, what is the bioeconomy fund part of it, but also the bioeconomy platforms in New Horizon and so the R&D. So timing is good for this cooperation, also at the regional level, but also this between the regions.
Yeah.
Sorry, I one thing to add. One concrete thing is this idea of this international accelerator program, which is very, very concrete and very, very kind of practical thing, and I believe that it brings really added value for each region, and for the, if you think about startups who are in an accelerator program, but you have an opportunity to go another domain where the same bioeconomy topic is strong, and the other region has invested on that it's a learning experience, and it might be a business opportunity, and it might be that 2 companies or 3 companies, startups for example, find each other from different countries, or a startup from other country can find, like you were referring in your presentation, that let's not forget the existing businesses and what you can do there, and you put the some startup from other region together with your existing bigger company, you never know what is innovated there.
That's fantastic from your side, because we have here an accelerator program very focused on attracting startups from all over the world, working with our existing companies in order to make the innovation grow very quickly, and at the same time to have new employments, which are not nowadays present, but working and focusing all the R&D on new businesses, because sometimes we get at the level of R&D and on Horizon Europe and on Horizon 2020, of course, we get a lot of money, but sometimes the money doesn't arrive to the business. And being so small as we are, I think that we have to focus on that. Get the R&D, of course, but focus on businesses, new businesses.
All right. Yes.
It's close to my heart, the topic, so sorry for taking time. But while you mentioned the investment, that's also something that can we get more out together while we join the forces from the financing perspective. And like we had here one presentation from the angel investor angle, and how about that presentation came from UK, but how about combining UK and Basque and German and Finnish North Carolinian investor forces, and what can you get out from that?
That's what we're planning to do in the facility. So, yeah. Any further questions? Yes, over there. Please introduce yourself first.
Okay. I'm Sven Mutke from the National Forest Research Institute on Agriculture and Food in the Forest Research Center in Madrid. So I'm German, but I'm placed in Madrid. My grandfather was carbon miner in Rheinland-Westphalia, and I'm in research in non-wood forest products. So I'm very glad to be here and to learn about this initiative of bioeconomy. I was wondering, markets and economy, it's about demand and supply. And we're talking about supply, about business opportunities, but it's also about consumers' rights, and consumers' interests. And I think we are in Europe. And Europe are very keen consumers for healthy products, natural products, and so on. And consumers' information and consumers' rights implies, for example, the traceability and to know where the products come from and the footprint and so on. And this bioeconomy should be not only about business opportunity for enterprises and startups, but also to integrate the European consumers in this ecosystem. So I wonder, how will you approach this? How will you integrate this in your strategy?
Okay. That's one of you, or may I?
Okay, from our point of view, as you say, it is not only about demand, it is about offer and demand at the same time. And if we are considering this new kind of economy, it is because we see the demand, and we see the demand in the European Union, and we see the demand here in the Basque Country. And if we are going to produce agriculture coming from bio-agriculture, it is because we see that our consumers are going to our markets and demanding bio-agriculture. And if we see that people are going to see new fashion, and they are going to look for new textiles, and if the cars are going to be more zero print, it is because there's going to be no plastic. So we are going to develop new businesses, but not from scratch, and not for nothing. It is because there is a real demand, so it is included, at least in our strategy.
I think you are right. So if you look at the Finnish discussion at the moment, so the consumer's role, we have to take it more seriously what they are thinking. For example, the discussion concerning the climate change and what it reflects to the businesses all around the Finland. So I think we have to make it more seriously. So when we are making our strategy at the regional level so far, so we have tried to make it so that way that all the actors could take part. So, for example, when we are now updating our climate and energy program at the moment, so one thing is how to make it so that all the actors can be involved with this process. But just briefly said that we have to take it account more seriously in future.
Yeah, one perspective to this is that this bioeconomy is kind of hot topic also from the many angles and from the business perspective, and from the consumer point of view, I believe that it's for the companies, it's nowadays extremely important to be true and honest and kind of not to use the bioeconomy and related topics as a marketing tool, but that what you really do matters for the consumers. And it's not only for the consumers then at the end, because also in B2B, when you sell to companies, there is human being buying, so it's the same thing that you and that's important. Nowadays you bit see a kind of that you do a bioeconomy green, you paint your company green with marketing, and that's not long-lasting thing. The other angle is with what Risto a bit touched, is that while we have the digital tools for different things, nowadays the consumers are very, how would I say, wise, and they have a lot of information available, and it's more like how you involve the consumers, how you take them part of what you do, and how you create together the businesses instead of traditional that you make products and then you tell that, hey, here is my product. And so that's one change what we need to take into account on this when we go further.
All right, thank you with that. With that, I would like to come to the last question, because we are on a tight schedule. Last question. If there's no one, well, then is there someone moving? No. No, then I want to thank our speakers very much, and also especially for the Basque Country for hosting this very nice startup event. So please join me in giving a big hand. Ladies and gentlemen, with that we are at the end of a very full day and a very exciting day. And I want to use this opportunity to close off. In the morning we heard Mark speak about the coin of the new bioeconomy, where you have the bioeconomy and the biodiversity, and that this joint coin of a more holistic aspect could be the new currency for the new bioeconomy. Now, what do we gonna use this currency for? We've heard today about new business models, we heard about new products, we heard about the transformation of the entire economy to a more circular, more bio-based, more use of timber, but also a reflection of the consumer attitudes. So a very holistic approach from policy to business to society. And this is precisely what we want to tackle in our Bioregions facility. We have those three elements, but we also look at the institutions and exchange between the regions, learning from each other. What works? What could work better? What could be learned? Infrastructures on investments and also on innovation, the new ideas. And with this, we also come to a new way of inspiration. An inspiration between the regions, but also connecting to Europe. And I'm looking forward to this cooperation and the bright new ideas that will come forward to really help to transform the regions, but also to lead the way. So thank you very much to all of you. Yeah. In technical terms, we talk about cooperation networking. We have a networking lunch for you over there. And for those who have booked for the excursion, please go to the registration desk. There we will find you and collect you at 2:30. Thank you very much.